do a super majestic intro right here, right now. Oh! Hello, hello. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Whether you are watching live on Twitch right now or you're going to be watching on YouTube shortly, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. For simplicity's sake, we are playing 7th edition Call of Cthulhu. With a campaign that's going to be a mixture of some pre-built adventures, such as the Mask of Nyarlathotep, as well as my own homebrew editions. It's going to be long-term, given that Zath isn't pooping every time we try to play. However, having just... That's rough, Cass. Having just recovered from an expedition, well, rather tragic run-in, maybe 6 months ago at the Wayland Estate. The four of you have carried on from your loss of sanity, of health, of loved ones, and moved on. You've returned to your homes. Speaking of, because we never talked about this, did anyone end up buying the Wayland Estate?
Nope. Nobody did.
I would not have any interest in buying it.
No.
Okay. Because
People were murdered in there, so I'm good.
It was extremely cheap after the murder. Well, some of you... Well, you all remained in Arkham in preparation for the expedition to Peru, of course. But some of you have returned to your homes. Others have gotten their short-time hotel rooms. You've bought your supplies and the like. And eventually, after recovering and your deadlines came near, left on a steamship headed from Arkham, Massachusetts, down to Lima, Peru. And right now, Logan is on the deck of the steamship. I really did just tap back to Discord so I can see your names. On the deck of the steamship, you can see Lima approaching quickly on the horizon, and you have just read one of your favorite phrases from one of your most favorite books, which we were reading to pass the time.
James Joyce's Ulysses?
No, I have to scroll up through all the Zath's notes to find it. Being, kings and governors that do exalt in strength and beauty and lusthood, and rich apparel, showing themselves for a while upon the stage of the world in open dominion of high heaven, what are they but the gilded summer fly that decayeth in the dying day? Now, that passage stuck out to you, not because of an attitude against the rich or the wealthy or the obnoxious, but because you know, somewhere in your mind, in all of your worldly experience, that there's more to this world than wealthy kings and queens, that there is something beyond, and you are dedicated to finding that. Now, as you close your book and you look up to the dock approaching, will you please describe to us Logan Macfell's appearance and give us just a little gist of his life? Well, he's dead. Moving on.
I'm sorry, give me just a moment. Have someone else go first if you can.
As you have been sitting in a higher deck in an indoor room, smoking one of your many, many cigars, stroking your very luscious ocelot, named Bebu, and staring out to the sea, will you please describe Ez for us and give us just a little snippet of his life?
Okay. Ez is... Oh, hang on.
Everybody's gone. There's no characters. The end. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next Friday for a new campaign.
Okay, so Ez basically... picture Peter Lorre but kind of with Does everyone know what Peter Lorre looks like?
Okay, you're describing this to an audience of people on Twitch and YouTube, and I promise you, most of them probably do not know who Peter Lorre is.
Okay, a generic henchman character from Warner Brothers cartoons. But anyway, basically, somebody who's fairly short, 5'2", curly reddish brown hair with it's mostly light brown with reddish patches. I think in the character sheet I've got it the other way around, but basically that's what it is. Sort of curlyish, protruding eyes, flat nose, scaly skin, but he tries to pass it off as smallpox scars. And very, very quietly spoken, but can be commanding when he needs to be.
Okay. And I'm assuming Logan isn't back yet. So, Isaac.
Yeah.
Before we get into any details of what is going on with your character, will you please describe to us Isaac's appearance and give us just a little snippet of his life?
Isaac is 6'1", kind of muscular. Has a beard that points up. He wears archaeologist clothing. He also has very rough skin. He's got dark brown eyes, dark brown hair. And as far as lifestyle, he's a very adventurous man. And he likes to go to places where there's ancient ruins and look into their civilization. That's pretty much his lifestyle.
Okay. And we do have a fourth member who is unable to join us today due to some illness, but will hopefully be able to join us next week. Doctor, if you will, and Professor of Marine Sciences, Violet Lynch, who is currently off at a lake kind of off of Lima at an edge of Peru, where she is studying some very unique marine biology. Now, Isaac has been down at the bottom of the steamship for some time. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry. Some phlegm. And he is on his knees in a circle of green chalk currently. In front of him is a bronze goblet inscribed with different geometric patterns. And he pulls from his coat this large, curving, silver, almost black dagger, and lifts up out of one of his suitcases a very large ostrich-like egg. And with the knife, he cracks open the egg, spilling it into the goblet, before he seems to mutter some things while gesturing his hand over it, and he drinks the yolk from inside. And Isaac, when you do that, your body lurches backwards, your skull stuck towards the sky. You can feel your eyes rolling into the back of your head. And you can see, not before you, but within you, a cosmic landscape of you, metaphysically, mentally, even. You can see nebulas and colored gases and stars and all these lights and the different constructs, every wrinkle and contour of your brain. And you see beyond that a color unlike the rest, a color any of you could not name, a color alien and foreign to this world and many others. And amongst that, there's only one star, blinking like the rest, until it does not, until it stays open, ever watching you and everything else. And for a moment you see through another's eyes. You can see a massive lake and fish and different platforms of mud carrying villages. And when your eyes open again, back to you in that circle, you can still feel somewhere in the back of your mind an open eye beyond your own. Now, Logan, are you here with us?
Yes.
As you close your book and look up to the port, will you please describe Logan's appearance and give us a small snippet about his life?
Yes. Logan is about 6'1". Um, he has an inability to open the character sheet because I forgot to open it. There we go.
I missed that. An inability to open what?
To open PDFs. I was being a
Oh.
shit because I forgot to open the fucking PDF.
Got it.
Okay. He's about 6'1". He has dark red, messy hair. He's surprisingly toned and muscled, and he has very defined cheekbones and a defined jawline, as well as thick 5 o'clock shadow and piercing green eyes. Generally very attractive and charming appearance-wise. Clearly Irish, given by his pale skin tone and vibrant long red hair. He's dressed a little casually, but business casual, as one who works in his profession would dress. That profession being that he is a black market dealer, as well as a bookstore owner and dealer of books from there. While he deals traditional books from his bookstore, his underground dealings in the black market typically lean toward the occult, whether it be tomes or artifacts or anything in between. He has a doctorate in occult studies. He knows 3 languages, and is rather indebted to Dr. Violet Lynch because through his interactions with her earlier in his life, she is the one who helped him get into Miskatonic University and is, in turn, essentially, in part responsible for his success today.
So, looking on ahead turns into a startle as a loud steam whistle kind of pierces out into the air from the ship you're on. A signal to all of you, no matter where you may be found on the ship, that the ship is beginning to dock. To be absolutely clear, the day is currently March 18th of 1921, and all of you leave the ship headed for the Bar Cordano, which is the instructed rendezvous with Augustus Larkin and the rest of the people that shall be going on the expedition, save for Violet. Each of you are to arrive there at about 7 p.m. and being together, each of you arrive there on time at once. Moving into and past the streets of Lima and into the Bar Cordano, you find a simple but tasteful restaurant. It has wood paneling and fixtures and a tiled floor. It has all kinds of furnishing. It is very pleasant. You are immediately, each of you, shown to a table by a waitress where you can already see 3 men sat. One of them presumably being Augustus Larkin, the person that has led/hired you for this expedition. You can see there an African American man of average height and build, with a short hair and habitual grin. He's wearing a tweed suit, and he's also sporting a fedora hat. He is smoking a pipe and seems to be gesturing gently to another man while they are having some small conversation. You can see there as well a more sickly looking man. He's pale, and by pale, in contrast to the tan colors and the darker skin that you can see in Lima often, this is the palest white skin you've probably ever seen. He's very thin and has greasy blonde hair and pale blue eyes. He appears relatively young, but his skin is saggy and he has noticeable bags under his eyes. He has a white linen suit, which also appears baggy, almost seeming to indicate that he has recently lost a significant amount of weight. And you can already smell from here an expensive, excessive cologne kind of wafting off of his body. Along with him, there's another man. He's gaunt, with pronounced cheekbones and deep-set piercing blue eyes. He has medium-length brown hair and an unkempt kind of blast, if you will. His clothing is clean, but old and frayed. And unlike the rest of the area, he does seem to be wearing light cotton garments over the traditional poncho and different woolen things that kind of help with the humidity and the cold at night of this area. He also, notably, has set next to him a very large, wide-brimmed black hat. Assumably, each of you move over there to take your seat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And immediately, Mr. Larkin welcomes all of you. He sounds, as far as sickly goes, sickly, though not with a sort of phlegm or anything, just kind of weak and raspy.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, which of the three was he?
Larkin is the sickly looking one.
So the second one.
Yes.
Okay.
He welcomes each of you individually. And being the first time you've ever seen him in person, he doesn't quite know each of your names besides the names themselves. He has a hard time matching them to each of you. The other person there with him, the African-American man, introduces himself as Jesse Hughes. And the more Spanish-looking, very disheveled man introduces himself as Luis de Mendoza. You can kind of see already sitting down that you seem to have entered a tense atmosphere. But immediately, a waiter is at the table trying to take your orders and things like that, which we won't get too in depth with because it's not really important.
I'm sorry, what was the African American man's name?
Jesse Hughes. He has a slight New York accent, actually, which you would notice immediately. Larkin immediately nods to all of you, giving your thanks for coming. And he goes on to talk about your travels to Lima and hoping they came without issue. He introduces de Mendoza as his personal aide and gestures to Hughes, introducing him as a folklorist from New York City and a new member of the expedition. If there's no...
You said folklorist?
Yes, folklorist. I'm taking a slight pause, just assuming you're all typing notes very rapidly.
I'm good. Probably or not.
Yeah, I'm okay.
The dinner continues to be quite pleasant, but as previously stated, there's kind of a frosty atmosphere. It appears that de Mendoza, Larkin's personal aide, has just been staring down Mr. Hughes since you've gotten here. Larkin continues with introducing his plan to all of you. He starts with a plan to head up to the Highlands and continues along on this kind of ramble of, and then we need to find the lost pyramid and recover some artifacts. Just a few, but no doubt there is an amount of gold to be found. No offense to anyone who might be against some requisition, but there is many, many items of historical value to be found. And it is undoubtable that each and all of us will, if taken the opportunity, become quite wealthy, as long as we find success.
My character is going to have a nonchalant look on his face and just shrug.
I recently bought a few interesting items from an alpaca farmer near Puno, who claims that his grandfather had recovered them from tunnels beneath the pyramid, high in the mountains. He never returned to the site because of superstitious fear, but he told his family that there were other treasures in the tunnel, and while he could not give me a precise location for the site, my subsequent research has provided enough detail to narrow it down and make an expedition viable. He pulls out these two items. One is a pendant in the form of a man holding two rods or staves, embellished with rectangular shapes, and the other is a golden cup carved with geometrical patterns in circles and inlaid with turquoise. Sorry.
Turquoise. Okay. Pendant in the form of a man holding two rods embellished in
Geometric patterns. My mouth is very dry. I apologize.
And then the cup?
Embellished with geometric patterns, circles, and turquoise. Yeah, they both appear very ancient and very, somewhere between kind of a bronze and gold. Your stereotypical recovered relic, if you will. He does seem prepared to answer any questions you may have about the expedition over your dinner. Also recommending a couple different meals and things like that, as it appears he has eaten here quite frequently. Nobody?
Sorry, I
Questions?
was writing a note.
Yeah, he is prepared to answer any questions you may have about the expedition. Being that you guys don't know anything about the expedition except for the fact that you're supposed to find a pyramid, and it's in Peru.
To be honest with you, Mr. Larkin, all I heard was wealth. Money, money, money. That's all I heard.
Anyone looking at stream can find a nice visual.
Ezra is going to ask if there will be chances to become acquainted with the locals during the expedition.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to require a decent amount of work with many different people. As of right now, the plan is to take trucks up to Puno within a week, I believe. And once there, we are going to have to get supplies from them and intermingle a little bit before we can move on to the highlands. There's also going to be a decent amount of time between different movements we take, as to give kind of a resting period and prepare while we wait on services. So you will absolutely have time to navigate the economy and society here, if it will.
At this point, Ez is also going to inquire as to financial details. Who's funding the expedition? Will we have to pay anything out of pocket, etc.?
Okay.
These are things that are going to be uppermost on his mind. I mean, he didn't get his money just by, asking for it.
I'm happy to provide any supplies necessary to the expedition, but if you need to buy anything special, I suppose, as long as you produce the receipts, I can reimburse you.
Carte blanche. As likey that.
Speaking of, we should be leaving Lima for Puno early in the morning, 3 or so days from now, Monday, March 21st. We will be meeting at 8 at the Hotel España. Notably, De Mendoza does not seem to talk at all, but he does seem to nod at almost everything Larkin says. Hughes, however, does seem to pay attention with great interest, and he poses the question of how you're planning on getting there. Larkin replies with, I've hired 3 trucks and drivers to take us and some supplies up to Puno, on the shores of Lake Titicaca. That name is a journey. Once there, we should buy some pack animals and stock up with fresh food, and possibly, hopefully, only a 4-day journey across the highland country. Logan, did you have a question?
Yes, also sorry, I thought I was muted. For my fucking typewriter hands. Logan is going to ask, what if purchases made preemptively? If we still have the receipts for those, would we be able to be reimbursed, perhaps? If they were purchased with the intent solely for the expedition?
Roll? You know what? Roll me your choice of charm or I wouldn't say that's fast talk, even though I believe you do have fast talk. Persuade. Yeah, I would say charm or persuade, your choice.
Where's my EP.1? I got an 8. And I forgot to say, but I'm rolling. I'm going to roll persuade.
Okay. Is that a success?
It's a normal success, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and check persuade. I suppose, given that it might be essential to the expedition, that as long as you have the information saying you've bought it, that I could reimburse you, yes.
Logan smiles a little bit and says, fantastic, I'll be sure to get those papers sent along.
And Ezra, that was basically Ezra's question, so should he do the same?
No, because it was already a success.
Okay.
Though if you would like to share the receipts as well, that's an option. So each of you, actually, throughout dinner, can work out with him your bank information, and he will, within the next 3 days, get the funds wired into your banks as to reimburse you that way, because he does not have the cash to simply hand you.
Right.
Any further questions?
What are the profit margins or splits for any sort of artifacts that we find? Obviously, if it's pure gold, we can simply do a split in the percentages, but what of artifacts and things of that nature that can't exactly be split?
Each of you propose an essential part of the expedition, and each of you will play your own role, and each of you are important, as I've said. So in that, any funds produced from non-liquid assets found will be split evenly.
Well, actually, I would like to ask a question. What about dangers? Will there be any dangers
Well,
over there, or no?
our biggest danger is lack of supplies and weather. But given that each of you are prepared enough and take advantage enough of supplies, and that I have calculated this journey correctly, the only danger I could think of beyond that may be any supposed traps or things you may find in the pyramid. And
What about wildlife?
wildlife? Perhaps there could be some large snakes or cats that could propose danger, but I doubt they will pick a fight with you.
I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm just gonna have a large fucking spine gel go down my back.
And I suppose if you happen to run into a mummy or something in the pyramid, then that's likely the only danger you could encounter. Though I doubt that would ever happen.
Logan just kind of gives some side eye to Ez and Isaac, and then looks back at Larkin and goes, "Of course not. That would be ridiculous."
I'm just gonna sit there with a panic look because of fear of animals.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
Oh,
Well,
I did too. That's wonderful.
You keeping your eye.
I also forgot. I still have the fear of yellow, don't I?
You do, you do. Luckily, though, there is no yellow in sight.
I'm going to ask you to expand a bit on the non-liquid assets. You mentioned that they would be split equally. That makes it essentially that makes it sound as though let me rephrase that. What if there is an artifact or an object or something that, rather than being sold and then splitting the profit, one of us wants to keep? What would happen in an instance of that?
Given that each of us are in an agreement, or you would be willing to give up your value worth of your own split for it, we could work something out. But that should be on a object by object basis.
Fair enough, I can understand that.
Any other questions?
That's it for me, actually. I don't have any more questions for Mr. Larkin.
Logan has his notebook out and he's like scribbling down notes. He's like, "One moment, please. Forgive me. My years of bookkeeping and running a store have made me a rather fastidious notekeeper."
There's that fucking word again. Hughes speaks up. Can we see your research? And though he does have a New York accent, he also does have a slight British accent, which creates a very interesting voice that I cannot voice act. And Larkin continues with, "My apologies, but I destroyed my paperwork in fear of another enterprising archaeologist stealing it and gaining a march on our expedition. Given that word about the pyramid has gone far and wide in press, anyone could mount a competing expedition. You can never be too safe. However," and he taps on his head, "it's all in my head. I have a very good memory. Do not fear." If you
I never.
if you do think that you require more research, I mean, feel free to investigate the area. I suppose you could always visit the Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology they have nearby. That should be in the National University of San Marcos. There could be old records and things tucked away, but there likely isn't much on the pyramid given that no one has discovered it yet.
Side note, the entire meal, I've been slipping table scraps to Babu.
Yeah.
I would like to imagine, like, Isaac's cat is in his lap and he's just stroking his cat while your
mean
cat's
as his
just down
cat?
there chewing. No,
I have a
Isaac.
cat, too.
Oh, I keep forgetting Isaac has a cat because he hasn't mentioned it.
And Az's ocelot is just under the table, like chewing on Mendoza's shoe or something.
That's because my cat's not a wild animal like yours.
I don't have one. What do you mean mine?
Talking about Ezra's.
Babu actually will be quite quiet and pleasant, except for peeing on random things during the course of the meal. One of those things probably being to Mendoza's shoe.
He actually does not seem to pay any attention to it.
Logan
However,
is also. Oh, sorry. Go.
As the different staff of the restaurant bar notice this, they all seem to like grimace and make different faces while I'm the one who has to clean that up. But none of them say anything.
And my character is going to be very American about this and simply ignore them. He will be aware of their grimaces, but he will ignore them.
Such a Karen. No. Meanwhile, though, Logan is also going to occasionally be reaching over and giving Babu scritches, because, yes.
No. Larkin seems to be growing kind of noticeably paler and sweatier as the evening goes on. And his hands actually seem to begin trembling as he's eating. And after an amount of time with the different questions, he stands up. I am feeling a little under the weather, so I will be finding an early night's rest. I apologize, but I hope you all enjoy your meal. You will be staying at the Hotel Maori for the night. I have already rented each of you rooms. Have fun with your 3 days, as it were, of freedom before we move on to this likely rather grueling expedition.
Hotel Mari?
Good night.
But we will be meeting at the Hotel Mendoza, though, for embarking, right?
Hotel España.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I misheard that, I guess.
And he and Mendoza walk off together. As he's
Before
leaving...
he does...
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, continue.
I was going to say, before he does, I'm going to do a... Shit, would it be a medicine roll to figure out what the fuck is wrong with him?
Yes, absolutely.
Or would it be first aid?
Medicine.
I wanted it to be first aid.
Each of you can roll if you'd like.
Okay.
I got a 44. I don't know shit. My medicine is 1. So.
I rolled a 66, so I'm not likely to know anything either.
What's my medicine? Oh, I actually got I got 00 on a 1.
That's a critical success. So mark your medicine, because you get to improve that. What is your medicine skill? Just 1?
Yeah, just 1.
Okay. So you're likely only familiar with this from experiencing another person throughout your life. But the symptoms seem quite adjacent to opiate withdrawal.
So he's a drug user. Alright.
Well, Isaac is the former cop, it makes sense that he would know.
Is he a former cop? I believe... No, I believe
I
that was a
thought he was.
That was a character draft.
Oh.
Wait, you talking about my character?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, my character's just an archaeologist.
Yeah, that's what I
Right,
thought.
the former cop was a different character draft. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. I was deciding between that and an archaeologist.
So, as they're leaving, Mr. Hughes speaks up. Would you all like to join me for a drink?
Ez will cheerfully accept.
Perhaps we could get to know
I'll
each
join
other
you.
better before we're stuck together in the wild.
Logan will give a little smile and nod. Also, he's petting Babu again.
What did Isaac say?
I'll join also.
He orders you all on him, the drink of your choice. And once the other two members of your expedition leave, he kind of leans in closer to each of you. How much do you believe of what what you've just heard? Do you trust Larkin?
Ez is going to volunteer. I don't trust anybody that I have not met before.
To be fair, I'm fairly certain that each of us, at least the three of us, are only here because I saw a flyer, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'll admit it was a bit of a risk coming out here, but risk and reward, the old saying.
All I could think of is money and wealth, so.
Obviously, Violet came for the marine biology wealth nearby.
Yeah. Ezra is going to ask Hughes if there's a reason that he doesn't that he's asking about Larkin. Is there a reason you're asking us if we don't trust Larkin?
I do. Or there is, rather. My real name is not Jesse Hughes. My apologies for the deception. My name is Jackson Elias. And I believe that Larkin is leading each of us into danger. I've been researching for a new book of mine about secret societies in Peru. Particularly traveling around the area of Lake Titicaca, I believe I found some evidence of a multiple century old death cult. And I believe they are at the center of it, or at least involved in some way.
But it's actually very interesting because I have a strong belief for the occult, so I kind of figured there'd be dangers heading towards the pyramid regardless.
So Hughes' real name is Jackson Elias, and he's researching his new book about Peruvian secret societies.
Yes, that is what he said.
And I wasn't quite sure. They're like death societies.
Death cult. One second, please. Now, are you asking this in character or out of character?
Well, okay, so Elias has volunteered all this, right?
Yes.
What I am going to ask in character is, who is it he's interested in? Is it de Mendoza, is it Larkin, or is it both?
Given that they are partners, if it were, or at least Mendoza is his bodyguard or lapdog, whatever it may be, it's both of them, but especially Larkin.
Okay, so basically, Ez is wondering who's pulling the strings. It would be Larkin and not de Mendoza.
Correct.
Okay. Because Ez would be suspicious of de Mendoza just automatically, but not necessarily Larkin, and this would just be like his social background.
Now,
Okay.
no, sorry, you continue.
Well, what Logan was going to say was, if you're here under false pretenses, who put you on this path? Like,
Myself.
who are you working for lack of a better
Oh,
word?
I'm sorry. Actually, there was one other thing I was going to ask you personally, and that is, would the name Jackson Elias be familiar to the party, and would we know him on sight?
You would not know him on sight, but there is a chance that you, specifically, being from New York, at least I believe, correct? You're from New York?
Boston, actually.
Ah, that's okay. Okay. Um, you are some
But
learned people.
I would travel into and out of New York on business quite often.
Hmm. You could roll. Let's see. You could roll credit, education, or there's so many skill options. Yeah, I would say credit or education.
All right. Well,
Can I make that roll too, or is that just Ezra?
Yeah, everybody can make that roll.
I rolled 67 against a 73 for education.
And I rolled a 42 against an 89 for education, so I actually got a
Uh,
half success.
I rolled a 51 and my education's 90.
Okay. So,
So, does that mean we would know him by reputation?
yes. None of you know him personally, but you would know
Right.
you would know of a Jackson Elias. He is
Okay.
a author slash investigator, kind of self-taught educated person, and he is very pronounced in some different academic fields. Um, he has been known to travel to research for his books, um, and he is not an occultist, but he writes many books on the occult, and he has books about all kinds of different organizations, cults, and different religions and beliefs from all over the world.
So Logan, also being a book dealery person and dealing in books constantly, has book dealer. Jesus Christ, English is not my friend. Anyway, he's going to kind of look Elias up and down a little bit, and then give him a half knowing kind of smirk and be like, "I thought that name sounded familiar. I'm fairly certain that I've stocked more than a few of your books in my store."
Well, that is quite humbling of you. Sorry, I'm chewing my food.
Kick him out. Beat him up.
No food allowed.
So, you should know then that my word is worth great trust. I would not seek to lead you astray, especially if I believe you to be in danger.
Then surely you know of our currently absent remaining expedition member who is possibly even more famous than you are, I dare say.
Oh, Madam Lynch.
Aye.
Who hasn't heard of her? She's quite famous, especially when. Now, don't take this the wrong way, but being in South America, in a place like Peru, it is an odd sight when a famed American woman comes strolling through to look at fish. But I'll give it to you. She has quite the reputation.
Yeah. So needless to say, it would I can't imagine he would be foolish enough to lead someone as well known name as hers into her possible death. I can only hope, at least. I feel like the attention he would draw would be would be more of a risk than any possible reward. So hopefully that will taper down any possible danger if we're lucky.
The beauty of it is that could be exactly what they're relying on at this point.
On
Now,
us hoping that we're not in danger because of violence.
he might be relying on the sense that no one would lead such a famous person to harm.
Hmm.
But as I've said, I don't know what part they are of it, but I do believe they do play a part. Now, recently, Larkin has tried to convince some of the locals in Puno to explore the pyramid, but was unable to find anyone willing to accompany him. Since then, he has turned to trying to find foreigners, such as yourselves, to flesh out the expedition. Which I both find odd for two reasons. One of my friends, Professor Nemesio Sanchez of the National University of San Marcos, has been interested in joining the expedition for some time, and he is quite an academic and educated man, but Larkin has ignored his every request to do so. Two, Sanchez believes he has some old documents and artifacts related to the site at the university, but still Larkin denies him. I'm actually due to visit him to see the artifacts and the like tomorrow. Perhaps you would like to accompany me?
I cannot speak for my other expedition
I would like
members,
to.
but I certainly
I would like
be.
to join.
Now, even further upon that, I've been warned, while I spent my time in Puno shadowing them, that De Mendoza is a Karasiri. Are any of you familiar with a Karasiri?
I had a character, I don't even know how to fucking spell that. A what? I had a character for my notes. A what?
Karasiri. K-H-A-R-I-S-I-R-I.
Oh, Jesus. K-H-A-R...
I-S.
I-S.
I-R-I.
I-R-I. Okay, and Professor what?
Professor Nemesio Sanchez.
Nemesio? Okay, sure.
N-E-M-E-S-I-O.
N-E-S-I-O.
S.
N-M-E-S-I-O?
Yes, Nemesio. Sanchez. S. A with, I can't remember the name of that style of punctuation.
Whatever.
N-C-H-E-Z.
What is a Karasiri?
And from where, real quick?
The National University of San Marcos.
Okay, there we go. Okay, yes. He's been warned that Des Mendoza's Karasiri. And to that, I will say, actually, you know what? Before I say fucking anything, I'm gonna roll an occult roll and find out if I know what that is. Is that the right dice? That is the right dice. I got a 28, which is a half success. Or is it a great success? Is that what it's called?
If it's half,
Yeah.
it's a hard success.
Hard success. And then what's a fifth? I thought a fifth was a hard.
A fifth is an extreme.
Okay, so it's a hard success.
A Karasiri is a local kind of folklore creature. You remember that it's vampiric in nature? It's amongst the many thought of existing vampires in the world, but you don't know much more. Elias adds that it is a vampiric monster that is supposed to suck the body fat from people. Now, I do not believe that such monsters exist, but I do believe that the stories started with the arrival of the conquistadors in the 16th century. And
Logan. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, continue.
Well, this would explain their ready demand in social circles.
Logan is gonna kind of raise an eyebrow at that and look to the others and say, I can't be the only one who noticed how immensely thin. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Wait, before I say anything.
How emaciated. Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm talking about the same person.
Well, Larkin appeared to suffer recent extreme weight loss, while De Mendoza apparently was simply gaunt.
Yeah, that's what I had notes and I couldn't remember which was which. Okay, so yes. Yeah. So knowing that, Logan is going to say, given how sickly and he was like saggy and his suit was baggy as if he'd recently lost a lot of weight. Seems a little suspicious given what you just said about De Mendoza.
But why would Larkin willingly associate with de Mendoza then?
Maybe he must be getting something in return.
Maybe he's part of the thing, like the.
I guess as you'd be
Circle?
asking this in
Well,
character.
With your medical check as well, Isaac, you might note that some of the symptoms of Larkin's appearance, if not all of them, also partially line up with opiate abuse.
Especially like the palsy.
Yeah.
Would Isaac say this out in character about the opioid abuse?
Yeah, I'll say that in character. I'll tell the rest of the group about the opiate abuse.
Logan's gonna be like, "Oh, huh? I didn't picture him as the type, but if it lines up."
At this time, opiates were used for more than
Damn
getting
near
high.
everything.
Right. Opiates were used to treat pain. They were used for religious things, all kinds of medical purposes.
I mean, you found them in cough syrups, you found them in tonics.
But
So it seems like, at least from what I've seen of real life artifacts from that time, it would be harder not to have an opioid addiction.
an opioid addiction to cause the level of physical change he has, though, would be more than the average person, if you will.
Yeah, he would probably be hanging out in an opium den or something.
Now, though I'm not sure how they tie into the cult, I do have my own suspicions about the pyramid as well. I do suspect that in some way it may be the focus of their operations. I found that many of these cults, if not all of them, tend to be built upon some sort of ideology made up by the cult leader. And so, if they have either built that religion upon the pyramid, or upon the finding of the pyramid, or anything similar to that, that could explain why they have such a focus on it. I've heard that as well. There are other members of the cult that I have never met, and I have experienced them communicating with other people that I'm not sure of, or have even been able to see. I don't know how large the cult is, but from the stories I've heard, I suspect that it numbers in the dozens.
And how international do you believe this to be?
Local.
Local. Okay, only a local thing to Peru or to Puno.
I believe it has existed for an amount of time, but I do believe that it is local to Peru, and it has remained in Peru.
And Ez is going to ask the obvious question of what is the purpose of the cult? Why would they exist?
Why does any cult exist except to manipulate power and to help the meek and frail of mind? It is a manipulation tool. It is a tool of power, and sometimes even spawned out of delusion. I can't tell you for each exact one until I know more about it. Chances are, if it started with the arrival of the conquistadors, as I believe, then either it is a spawn of conquistador beliefs in opposition to the native beliefs here, or it could be a remainder of the native societies that were destroyed, and be a small group reaching out in extremist and violent ways in order to appease their ancient gods.
So if it's as dangerous as you think it is, why not bring uh, more backup, I suppose?
My dear man, you are the backup.
Lovely.
It is not like I could bring the police in. And
True.
as someone who journeys the world, I have many friends, but few strong enough in bond that they would throw their life on the line. You, however, are already knee-deep. And who's to say if we do not play along that they won't kill us now? Either way, they may not even be aimed to murder us. They might literally just be using you to find the pyramid and treat it as you believe, and then later come back to it for their own use.
Well, as uncertain as it seems to be, it looks like our only real course of action is to move forward and hope we don't, get murder cult suicided. Or not murder cult sacrificed. Sorry.
Well, if they seem to have any sort of fruit punch, don't drink it.
Luckily for me, I'm pretty sure all of us came with weapons, come to think of it. I'm not sure if Isaac did.
I came with a weapon minus Violet.
Ah.
And I think Ezra doesn't have a weapon either.
No, right now Ezra does not have a weapon.
Right, I forgot.
Yeah,
you
so me
planned on
and Logan
stocking
are
up
the
on-
only ones that are packing right now.
I'd forgotten Ezra planned on loading up once we'd gotten here.
Now,
Well, also bear in mind that other than maybe a small knife, there's no reason to be armed in Lima.
Well, after learning about the whole cults and the death cult here, we should probably definitely arm ourselves with a weapon at least.
Yeah, that seems sensible.
The best part is I even charged him for my 45.
I think we all charged them for our stuff.
now,
Wouldn't it be rather funny if I ended up having to kill him with the gun he paid for?
in truth, I need your own input on a situation. With Professor Sanchez believing he knows about this pyramid, and Larkin's abuse of his available resources in neglect and his refusal, could Professor Sanchez be in danger?
Aren't we assuming at this point that Professor Sanchez is a vampiric creature sucking the body fat from people?
No. You're thinking of Mendoza, not Sanchez. Sanchez is the one from the university who has information about the pyramid, but Larkin has been like telling him to fuck off, and he's not welcoming him, even though he wanted to be part of the expedition. No, he said he had
Sanchez was the Mendoza.
No.
Then Mendoza's he was the medical aid that he introduced in the beginning.
Not medical aid,
Elias-
but personal aid.
Oh,
yeah.
personal aid. I put medical aid.
Elias has his friend Professor Nemesio.
Nemesio, yeah.
Nemesio, okay. Nemesio Sanchez from the National University of San Marcos has wanted to join, but Larkin has ignored his every request to join. Sanchez believes he has old documents tied to the site back at the university, but Larkin still denies him. And he's going to the professor's place tomorrow to see the artifacts that he has gathered, as well as his notes, and he offered us an invite. And he and Isaac said yes.
So, De Mendoza is the vampiric fat-sucking creature, but De Mendoza is not Sanchez.
Yeah, De Mendoza and Sanchez.
Now, while you are correct, you are also incorrect, because there is no such thing as a fat-sucking vampire. However, if he is involved in the murdering of people, that could be a spawn of the belief, but it could also simply be because of his European ancestry. He is Spanish after all, and many people still remember the days in the back of their mind and the stories they've heard of the conquistadors. and that might be a source of displeasure.
Well, you can't necessarily blame them, really.
No, and I do believe it has been helpful information.
Yeah. Since these guys are still talking to Jackson, is it okay if I head back to like my room for the night?
I do believe as well that I shall be going out, so good night to you all.
When should we meet you tomorrow for the visit to Nemesio?
How about we say 10 a.m. here at the... No, I shall meet you at the Hotel Maui.
Wonderful. We will see you then.
And he walks out.
Okay. Now that it's just the three of us, am I the only
Well,
one
I went to
considering
my
the-
room, so
You have not left your room yet?
I haven't. Oh,
No, because
Now that
this
it's
just...
just now that
I
it's just
also
the three
sent
of
you
us,
a message DM just to ask you something.
am I the only one who is concerned about the fat-sucking vampire? Since we obviously know that such things could possibly exist, given what we saw at the fucking Wayland
Well, yeah,
estate.
after what we experienced.
Well, if his appetites are kept in check, and he only eats in moderation, I, for one, could do with his attention.
Gods, Ezra. God, I don't know why I pluralized it. I'm used to playing a pagan.
Would anything be open at this time? Maybe we can go out buying some gear, or should we do that tomorrow instead?
Given the time of night,
It's probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night at this point, I would guess.
Yeah, probably.
It is actually about 9 at night at this point, maybe even later. Because you just got here at 7 or 8.
I am going to call for another drink, since I've only had the one.
You will have to pay for this one, since how
Absolutely. I think I can afford it.
Larkin is not here. But I'm sure you can afford many, many drinks at ratings such as yours.
And in a deliberate attempt to impress the locals here at the bar, I will be paying in dollars, not in souls.
That's a lot of drinks.
Well, I will expect my change in souls.
Fair enough. You do order yourselves a couple drinks though, and of course you have your daily spending value, so I'm not too worried about telling you what you get back. But
And in this, at least for this one particular set of drinks, I will pay for everybody's drink at the table.
a
Hey, I appreciate that.
Well,
I
he's
am-
not going to want to be outdone by Hughes/Elias.
Isaac is still gonna sit there kind of sweating, thinking about the animals at the pyramid.
Babu is still on the floor, just nom-nom-nomming on a chair leg.
and so
Crimson,
yes.
go get water.
What? Why?
Go
That's
get
what Kat-
water.
That's what Kat said at the end.
Cat redeemed it. Go get water.
Hey, we're in the middle of Call of Cthulhu. No redemptions allowed. So,
Big move.
where shall you guys be heading after your drinks? Actually, let's make this spicy, seeing so you guys are getting drinks. Everybody, make a Constitution roll.
Ah, hell. No fair. I don't have my.
Oh, I got a double zero. Let's see what I get next. I got 60.
Wait,
Oh wait, no, I got
Oh.
60 and a zero. My bad. I
Oh.
read my 10 wrong. My 10 dice wrong. Oh no, it's a 60 and zero.
oh, so you got 60. What's your
Yeah, I got
Constitution?
70.
Okay, so that's a success.
My dumbass read my 10 dice as my percentage dice.
Maybe. Come look at what I rolled. Holy shit.
I
Critical
rolled
success.
a 74 against a constitution of 50.
Okay.
So, look what I rolled.
What'd you roll?
All I see is glare off the tops of the dice.
I
I rolled a
rolled
double zero
a
and a
0
one.
Okay.
and a 50.
Uh-huh.
My constitution is exactly 50.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
So
I had
Isaac,
my headphones off. Did I miss anything?
Isaac
No.
and Logan. You both probably didn't drink much. You're fine. However, Ez, who drank a lot at home, is not necessarily as acclimated to the strength of the alcohol that can be found here.
Clearly, since I've only had 2 drinks and I got a constitution roll of 74.
So Ezra is a lightweight. Note to self.
Ez is not smashed, but Ez is tipsy.
I literally typed in my notes, Ez got shit faced. Ha.
I put Ezra is drunk as fuck.
So I don't want to derail, because it is tied to the campaign, but there's something we didn't finish from the last one.
What's that?
He's gonna talk about the equipment.
The loot.
Talk about it right here, right now, at the table in the restaurant.
Okay, so Logan's just been holding on to it for like 6 months.
Yes.
Hasn't it been a year?
No, it hasn't been an entire year because you were most of the
Oh.
way through 1920 during the
Okay.
events at the Wayland Estate.
Okay, well, Logan's gonna say, now that we're all here again together, I've been holding on to these bloody things for 6 months now.
I still want the lantern. So
Yeah, I know. We need to discuss. I feel like we should discuss the details of this in a bit more of a private locale, but I do have the things on me so that things can be properly.
well, we can head to somebody's room for the night and talk about it.
Did you want to go anywhere else first?
Well, it's late at night. Where can we go?
So
I
you
don't
do
know,
know
as-
you do know where the other members of the expedition are staying, except Jackson. So that is an
Oh.
option. I don't know why you might want to, but you could always stop at the university and I don't know, break in or something awful. And there is, of course, the Hotel Maori. But if you can think of anything else, of course, bring that up.
Let's go find a hooker. No, I'm kidding. We
knew
may
it.
as well just.
I knew it.
No. We may as well just go back to the hotel.
The hotel. Yeah, we'll go back to the hotel.
Yes, go
I
back
was
to the
going to say,
goddamn hotel.
if Ezra is that incapacitated, he's going to want to more or less immediately go back to his room where he's relatively safe and sleep it off.
Oh, you're not fucking drunk. You're just a little tipsy. So you're good to exist. But if
You're
you
good to
guys would
exist.
like to head back to Hotel Maori,
Good
that
to
is an option.
Seems
Yeah,
like
we'll
the
head
most
to Logan's room.
May as well, since it's in my things, not actively on my person.
Okay. So you begin to make your way back to the Hotel Maori. Let me find if I have a good description for this. Apparently, I'm stupid and I don't. So, you each make your way to the hotel, which you had possibly already stopped in before, even. And you make your way up your, stairs and such, and you find your rooms, where you will begin to discuss loot splits. In the meantime, we're going to call a short intermission, so we can take a quick break, use the bathroom and the like. We will be right back. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I'm so very sorry that took so long, but health issues are a pain in the ass. So, last we left off, all of you have just gotten done with your dinner and meetings with both Mr. Augustus and Jackson. And yes, not Augustus Wayland, Augustus Larkin. Um, and you've discussed some pretty interesting things before parting your ways, and your group specifically making their way back to Hotel Maori. Or which should rather be described as Motel Maori, as it appears that instead of the Hotel España, he has paid for each of you the cheaper option while still being on the nice side of things. So during dinner, he gave you each a key, and that key has a number on it, and of course, that leads to each of your own different rooms. However, you have all decided to meet in a room together, whoever that may be. Anyone?
We're meeting at Logan's room.
Okay. So you all pile your way in. They're small rooms, they're pretty insignificant. There's a bed, there's a bathroom, you know.
Ezra is actually going to go to his own room.
Rather
We
than
have to talk about loot, remember?
I was about to say there was going to be talk about loot, but if you are not interested in that split, then fair enough.
Well, there was only one thing that Ezra was interested in from that, and as far as I know, he still has the lantern in his possession.
No.
Well,
Remember we had Logan took note of everything and was gonna hold on to it until they talked about it back at the city, and then it got postponed to now.
Oh, because before that was mentioned, Ezra had already picked up the lantern. That's in the... Oh, we don't actually have unified party notes, do we? Well, it's in my notes.
No, I know. I mean, once they got back to the car,
yeah,
though.
we had all agreed on it being split up evenly after that point.
In that case, Ezra does not have the lantern, and he's still going to his room.
Fair enough. If you wanted to...
Alright, I will edit my notes.
If you wanted to try to pull a sneaky on him and steal it, that's always an option.
No, there's no point.
Okay. So, Isaac and Logan at least meet in Logan's room. What will you be splitting your different ways?
I actually don't remember what we got from the estate, but I'll let Logan list it all.
Well, we managed to take with us several very high quality religious tomes, specifically a very scripty Torah written on an inlaid plate with like silver and jewels, a large leather bound King James Bible, a Quran that has like gold leaf and filigree on it, and possibly some other old religious items. I can't remember. Well, I literally have possibly other old religious items / books in the notes, so I'm not sure.
Oh, right. So I'm also going to delete the line much earlier where I had pocketed the Torah, since that would presumably also be in party loot.
Which is why I was gonna say they were going to sell off the rest of that and split the loot 3 ways.
Well,
ways, actually.
2 ways anyway.
No, 4 ways. They're gonna... Just because Violet and Ezra aren't here doesn't mean that Logan's gonna let them get cut on the loot. Cut out of the loot, rather.
I believe beyond that you had, of course, there was the lantern.
Yeah, I hadn't gotten to the rest.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
Yeah, no, I have the Book of Sacred Magic of Abramelin, the Mage, the English translation, and then the Das Buch Abramelin, which is the 15th century German translation, which are both have actual like magic to them that I could feel coming from them, and Logan will say that in character. Like I can feel something coming off of this that's not mortal. It's something occult-y, and it very much has my interest. But aside from that, there was an almond wood wand, the Abramelin ritual lantern, and the Key of Solomon, which is the Book of Demonology.
Which
I
actually
will.
contains demonology practices, by the way. It's not just like on the sciences of. It literally
Yeah.
contains rituals.
Personally, the two Abramelin books and the Book of Solomon are things that I very much want. Be it for my own personal, just for my own personal collection, given that I am an occultist collector and book person. And on a side note to the DM, because I totally might want to study them and get magic. Uh, as for the lantern,
I just want the lantern
okay.
for my strong cultist, not cultist, occult beliefs.
Having had 6 months, I'm assuming this would have given me at least enough time to figure out from he wouldn't have spent a lot of time studying it because obviously I don't want to like be like he learned 3 books worth of magic between the last session and now. But would he have been able to at least research enough to figure out the implications of the possession of the lantern? Like, how dangerous is it on its own? Like, does he have to be worried about someone summoning another fucking demon into the world if he hands this off to someone?
Roll a mythos skill.
A mythos, son of a bitch. Skill. That's a D20.
Oh, I forgot you gave me it.
That's a D8.
Told me
That's a
that.
D10. I got an 87. I don't know shit.
Yeah, so as far as you know, it's just one of those things that's part of the ritual. You have to have a stained glass lantern like that, and it has to be lit every single time, like every single day that you are participating in the operation.
Okay, well, I'll ask, I almost said ask Solomon. I'll ask Isaac this. If you don't have the books, the Abramelin books, what interest do you really have in, like, what do you want to do with it if you don't have any, like, you know what I mean? If you don't have the books to do the rituals, you're not going to do any rituals with them, what do you want the lantern for? Yeah.
Just to have as part of my collection.
I'm
not going to use it for anything. I just want to have it as like a collection so nobody else can really touch it.
I know that's sincere, but that sounds so fucking fishy.
It does.
I'm not going to do anything with it. I can't use magic anyways, so...
Logan's going to roll, what is it? It's like an insight check from D&D, like to try and tell if someone's lying to you or like.
That would be. I believe
psychoanalysis.
Yes, I believe that's what it is.
I have a 1.
Watch him still get it somehow.
Wait, it might not be psychoanalysis. It might be psychology instead.
That's a 10.
Let me find a spot where it lists it in the book. Psychology can be used.
Okay, good. Because I was like 1%. God damn.
Yeah, you can.
Even
use
getting
psychology.
a 10 though is kind of hard.
Yeah, at least that's still a 10% chance instead of a fucking 1 in 100 chance. I got a fucking 6.
He's cheating. I know it. He's cheating. He's lying.
I swear to God,
Just
I'm
like
not.
Oni, you dirty, filthy man. Well, go ahead and check that box then. And you're trying to tell if Isaac is lying?
Yeah, like if his motives are true.
Well, Isaac, are they?
They are. I can't use magic, so I mean, what can I do with the lantern besides have it as a display item? I just want it just because of my strong occult beliefs. I can't do anything with it. Only you know magic in the group, so.
Actually, Cat does too, but.
Well,
sorry, Violet.
Well, Violet won't be able to be in my house to touch it, so I'm just gonna keep it there, part of my collection. But I mean, you're welcome to use it if you ever want to use it.
That was gonna be my question. Okay, you know what? Barring Violet or Ezra having objections, I'm fine with it. Given that we all kind of had to suffer through hell for it, I want to get their approval on it.
Well, the thing is, I know Ezra wants to sell it, and I don't know if it's
smart to sell it. So I'm gonna put a no on that.
Ezra is not going to care at this point. Ezra is going to say whatever you guys want to do is fine.
We have word from the beyond from Violet that you can take it. So she said in chat that
Actually,
you can
quite
take it.
literally, you hear for a moment in your head, you can take it.
Lol. Okay, so yeah, given that you've agreed to let me use it if the need ever arises, which I very much doubt it will, but
Well, I mean, because there's no point of me keeping it to myself if you're the only person who knows magic and you have the book. So might as well
yeah.
also let you have a hand in it too if I'm gonna keep it.
In that case, then
Bearcat, you're not a spooky ghost. You just a really big brain.
she turned into Kyle from that episode of South Park and just transcended reality. So yeah, he will agree to that. Then you can take possession of the lantern on the condition that I can use it if I want to, but that probably won't happen. I'm going to notate. Actually, I can just reply to the message. That'll work great.
Now that is
All
the
right,
subject
one moment.
of the lantern, but on the subject of everything else, how is that being split?
Yeah, let me just.
It's like the shopping episode of D&D.
Yeah.
Well, actually, since you brought the lantern, I feel like why don't we use it at the ruins? Because I
Actually,
mean,
you know, I
what does
think
it do? Does it just summon creatures to this world, or?
we don't know. I haven't put enough time into reading the books yet because
Roll a mythos skill, Isaac.
I got a 6. I have a 5. I needed.
damn,
Would you
Would
like
you
to
spend
a
spend a
luck
point
point?
of luck?
Yes.
Fuck yeah, do it, bitch.
Okay, and that puts you at a success. Though you do not check that box.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I can't check it anyways.
Cthulhu Mythos is not a skill that improves with succeeding in the skill. It is a skill that improves with interaction with certain beings and study through artifacts and the like. So, in fact, you didn't realize it, Isaac, but you're holding the lantern right now as you've been talking about it. And you feel this
Nani?
you feel this kind of muscle spasms slash pressure headache at the back of your skull, and for a moment you see that flash of a star blinking, staring, watching, and for some reason you know what this item is. They are known as beacons of chaos. And unlike the actual item that's meant for the operation, beacons of chaos, when charged with so many mana points over a period of time, they can summon a very specific kind of horror. The kind that you ran into at the Wayland Estate.
So it is it is a portal to it. Okay.
So does
Now,
Isaac share this knowledge that he suddenly got?
the other idea that comes with that
Oh, okay.
is, if you remember correctly, Augustus Wayland was sold both the actual German Abramelin Operation book and this beacon to complete his task. So either Lester was stupid or he purposefully gave him that instead of the actual object.
Well, being that I notice, I'll share it with the rest of the party. Of what I learned about this lantern.
So Logan's gonna be like a little surprised because Isaac's just suddenly holding it, and he's gonna look down at it and go, "You know what? I'm not even gonna question it." And then he's gonna say, "Once you say all of this," he's gonna be like, "Honestly, I think Lester purposely and maliciously gave him this beacon of chaos because as I shot at that fucker when he drove away, I saw beady little monstery little black eyes staring back at me from this rearview mirror. I don't know what the fuck Lester is, but I don't think he's human. So I
Well,
would
yeah,
say
when
let's
we met
probably not
Lester,
use this.
I kind of felt that he wasn't human regardless because the way he was
Yeah,
acting too.
yeah, not human, and I would advise probably. Actually, side question out of character thingy: would they know, or would Isaac know? Because of what he just learned, would he know that if you summoned it, would you be able to control it at all, or is it just you summon it and it kills everything?
The entire premise of the object is to summon it, and that's all he knows.
Well, if you think about it, if you summon it, you would have to have some sort of binding ritual to it to be able to control it.
Yeah,
Isn't
which
that
is why
what?
she
Isn't that
yeah,
what?
the Kamiya. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, isn't that what she was trying to do with it? So
So unless we had the Kamiya, unless we had the Kamiya to hold it in place, yeah, it would likely be a very bad idea to summon it. So yeah.
the only person here that can use magic is you, Logan. So
Clearly, you didn't see what Violet did in the kitchen with me, did you? That sounds dirty.
I wasn't there. I was in the lounge with the rest of the
other
soul.
reality
So.
is, don't forget, with the Kamiya, it's like a prison. It holds whatever in, but it can still reach through the bars. So even though it was contained within the house, it was able to influence the entire property.
And even more so, reach out far enough to fuck with my fuel gauge off the fucking road.
No, that was actually just a faulty fuel gauge. You got that fixed later on.
Oh, okay.
The only question I have is, can the beacon of chaos be used as a lantern to see through the veil?
As far as you know, there isn't a veil.
I was just wondering because since it can summon, creatures from a different dimension into our world, so I was just wondering if it can see through the veil or something.
Actually, to be specific, you don't know where it summons them from. It might not be another dimension.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay, well, with all of that known,
Well, I'll just put the lantern down and not even touch it.
okay. The lantern, yeah, he'll give that to Isaac on the condition that I can use it, not that I'm probably ever going to want to.
I mean, you can hold on to it. I'm not gonna touch it after I learned what I learned about it.
Oh, you don't want it anymore?
I want it. I'm just not gonna hold it for the rest of the night.
I mean, like in the future, you know what I mean. So yeah, you can have it in your possession in the future as long as I have,
The thing is, I feel like if Jackson says there's cultists here, they shouldn't learn about this lantern.
Oh no, definitely not.
Or the
I
book that
actually
you hold too.
I very may well ship that back to my estate. But the books, I'm gonna keep those. So the Book of Sacred Magic of Abramelin, Das Buch Abramelin, and the Key of Solomon, I will be keeping all of those for my own personal collection and perusal.
Haha, he said a joke.
Well, with that and learning that, I guess I'm going to go to bed.
The last thing is all of the real quick before you do. The last thing is all of the religious shit. That I have no problem selling. It's just religious shit. You want to make some money because these things look like they're worth some money.
Well, I feel like Ezra can probably sell them because he'd probably make more money out of it.
Probably, and whatever profit we get, we can split 4 ways. It seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Even though Violet's not here, we all survived through that hellhole, so we can just split the profit 4 ways once that's all sold.
Why would I sell them? You've got the bookstore.
Actually, yeah, they're not smuggled goods, or they're not black market goods. So, actually, yeah, it probably would be more in my contact area.
Oh, I don't know. I just feel like maybe he'd get like a bigger barter on them or something.
He is the smuggler. I'm the peddler.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
He's the
so
mover.
with my connections, I'll call my people back in the States and get in touch with them and see what connections
So
they have.
here's the thing.
Or I'll send a telegram. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Sending books. Stop. Sell them. Stop. Thank you. Stop.
Or I'll say yeah, sending books and just sending books. Sending books, stop. More information included with books, stop. High discretion necessary, stop. Handle with care, stop. And then included with the letter will be a more detailed description of, what they are. Just, that they're just since he's the appraiser and his other people probably don't have as high of appraisal skills, he's gonna be like, well, these are worth a lot of money. Sorry, let me slow that down for the stream. He's going to be like, look, these are worth a lot of money. I heard myself kind of slur that all together.
I am wondering from a practical standpoint why you would actually bring these to Peru with you.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is like, why did you bring
the
all these things with you?
reality is, right now, we can in retrospect say, well, these were left at the store.
Okay, perfect. So, in that note, then I'll just say, I'll have left instructions for them. Like, look, if I get the go ahead, you already know the connections, you already know where to sell, you get the buyers lined up, you let me know how much money we have coming our way, and I'll split it accordingly. So he'll just send a telegram saying, we have the go ahead, sell the shit, tell me how much goods we got, how much money we got. And so he'll send that telegram like either tonight or in the morning or something. And so in my notes, I will notate, there's one other thing I forgot. Where did it go? Motherfucker, where'd it go? Did I delete it? Okay, well, there was also a wand. Where is the loot list? Damn it.
It was like a wand and a bunch of other like religious books.
Yeah, no, I have the books. I have the books written down. Yeah, no, it's an almond wood wand. Yeah. So would I do like an occult roll to see who that would go for, or if it has any occult value or anything?
I mean, you don't have to roll an occult to know that a wand is a wand. A wand has 101 implicated, uses or implied uses or thought of uses. But
Wait, Logan, I got a question for you. Did you clean it after you took it out of Victoria's neck?
No, actually, I have not yet, because depending on who the buyer is, I could see certain circles being interested in having an oak wand bathed in the blood of a ritualistically sacrificed maiden. So, no, I have not.
Okay.
Chaos is over here like, I wonder what I can do with her blood.
So would that be something that he would be able to sell to his contacts? I'm assuming so.
A murder weapon? No.
A wand.
Sure. If it wasn't a murder weapon.
Well, he would clean it off of. Okay, he obviously has black market people who would be into that. So
Yes.
if there's no black market interest,
if
then he'll
perhaps
just clean it off.
Ez could smuggle it, then yes, it could be sold at a higher price than the wand alone.
Okay, how would we go about that? Would Ez have to roll for that, or?
We would just get into as comes into contact with some associates and gets it sent along the way in the next couple of days.
Would you be okay with that, Ezra?
Sure.
Okay, so
Just make the arrangements.
Is that it for all of you tonight?
That is it for me.
yes.
Each of you make your way to your separate rooms and settle down for a good night's sleep. Now, Logan,
Yeah.
at night, while you are laying there, dreaming, you dream of these tall, grassy fields and these plateau-like, almost like a desert, but each crack seems to just go down. And you can see long snakes and large cats off in the distance, a massive lake on the horizon. And you turn around and you can see a wall directly in front of your face. And just in front of you, between two bricks of this wall, is what at first you believe to be another face, but is in fact a carved apparatus, like a mask hung on the brick. And you can see this near humanoid face, but its mouth comes out into a disc of teeth, kind of like a lamprey.
Lovely.
Do you try to react in any way in your dream?
So I'm trying to figure out how to spell plateau.
Plateeu. Or maybe that's wrong.
EAU. Okay. Stupid French words. I probably would inspect the mask without touching it. See if it's connected to anything, or...
Yeah, you kind of look at it and you study it and you realize that it's your face. But your mouth is extended outwards in this large circle with rings of teeth. And it reaches out to you, clamping onto your face, burning into your flesh and sucking away your fat. And you wake up.
So when he wakes up, his first thing he's gonna do is gonna turn a light on and look around, see if there's anyone in his room.
Roll a spot hidden check.
I got a 40, and my spot hidden is 30.
You do not see anybody.
Okay, he's gonna drink some water from his bedside table and then try to shake it off and go back to sleep.
Well, it's morning, so it'd actually be time for each of you to get up and get on with your business. And to that end, all of you wake up. Besides getting in contact with your smuggling associates and sending your telegram, is there any other business you would like to get to before you meet up with Mr. Elias?
I don't have any. I'm not sure if
I'm back.
All right, welcome back. Yes, sorry.
Sorry.
Is there any business Isaac would like to get to before he goes off to meet Elias?
Well, I'm assuming we should just buy supplies. That's the only thing I want to get is like some food. And maybe some other gear, I guess, before we head out.
And you do have, it is the 19th and you are leaving the 21st, so you do have a couple other days as well.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'll take care of that another time then. I'll go meet with Elias and all that.
I'm not saying you have to, I am just saying you do have some time if you're just trying to stock up for the adventure when it comes to food.
Yeah, no, it's just I forgot we're gonna meet Elias first before heading there. So you know what, we'll do Elias first and then do that after. Or I'll do that after.
Okay. So are all of you headed for Elias?
Actually, Ezra is going to leave to go to the local clipping agency in Lima and ask them for anything relating to Elias and to have that forwarded to him in Puno.
Okay. Yep, so
So that'll probably take him most of the morning.
And they do give you a place in Puno that you can meet to see if they have found anything.
Right, because obviously it'll take the clipping agency a few days to figure out.
And you do have, even on the trucks, a couple days worth of travel before you get to Puno. So, Logan, is there anything you were trying to get accomplished?
No, I don't think. I mean, I might have studied a little bit of like the English book of Abermelon, or actually, no. You know what? He'd probably look at the Key of Solomon. Spend like an hour or two studying the Key of Solomon just for funsies.
Okay, so it's going to take 4 months to study the English version of the Abermelon books.
No, what about the Key of Solomon?
I'll get to that. It's going to take 6 months to study the Germanic book of Abermelon. And it will take 6 months to study the Lesser Key of Solomon in totality, because it is not any sort of religious kind of fantasy Key of Solomon. It is a legitimate demonological book written by Solomon.
Now, does he need to know German for the German version, or can he learn it even without knowing German?
Oh, it is written in German. If you can't read German, then you can't read the book.
Okay.
Though it is possible to, in certain cities and things like that, hire someone that could translate it for you.
True.
So all of you meet with Jackson Elias at the kind of front office, who, greets you in the morning and begins leading you on your way to the university. Now, the university itself is pretty large, and the museum, which is specifically what you're heading to, is a recent addition to the campus, where most of the university itself does look very aged, though maintained. The museum looks quite brand new. It is housed in a long 2-story stone building, painted dark yellow, fronted by the university park. Can you all hear me well? I thought I was getting an audio lag there for a second.
Yeah, no. The museum inside the university is the archaeology one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so you're not taken quite to the museum. You are taken rather just outside of it, where Elias leads you to an office on the ground floor. Now, taking you to this office, it is an airy, tall-ceilinged room with white walls and shelves full of books and artifacts. There's a large hardwood desk, which kind of dominates the room, piled high with papers, books, and journals. The windows are all open because it is hot. And you can see Mr. Sanchez there, who I will get the description for in just a second. Professor Sanchez, who is sitting at his desk, is described as slim and dapper, with neatly oiled hair and a well-groomed beard. He wears glasses and is dressed in a suit. Were you gonna say something there, Logan?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, just so that this doesn't bite me in the ass later, Logan did put on his "Don't burn me, I'm Irish" cream.
Okay, good call. Good call. But there's all kinds of, there's different chairs and surfaces rather for you each to sit on in there. And Sanchez does seem quite surprised at the amount of people that are now in his office. And I can't do a great Spanish accent, and I'm not going to try at the risk of sounding like a bad person. But he does have a pretty heavy Peruvian accent, and he speaks passable English. But, there's still some barriers in the language. He kind of greets all of you with a handshake and begins to talk with Elias. He begins by offering that he's offered to help Larkin on a number of occasions, only to be ignored or rebuffed each time. And he suspects that Larkin wishes to loot the site without interference, and he believes kind of that, being an archaeologist working for the museum, that Larkin would be against the ability to pilfer different relics. Which, of course, there are no legal restrictions in Peru to prevent foreigners from doing that exact thing, which seems to frustrate him deeply. He also seems to refer to Larkin as, oh, that's a wonderful word I can't pronounce. Basically, the Quechua word for grave robber. He continues with, I believe his only recourse is to identify the exact location of the pyramid and get there first, although time is running out. One of my students, Trinidad Rizzo, has been going through the university library and archives for any possible information about the pyramid. We found an old document from the mid-16th century written by a conquistador by the name of Gaspar how is his name pronounced? Figueroa, which may refer to the site in question. The document is difficult to read, but I had Rizzo work on a summary that kind of picks out the pertinent details. She's almost finished, but she has gone down to the storeroom to look for an artifact, which seemed to be mentioned in the writing. In fact, she should be along soon to join the meeting, but she's taking a moment. He, while waiting, is very happy to answer any questions you may have about the area, especially Peruvian history and archaeology. But he definitely gives off the vibe of a rationalist. Like, he's heavily invested in the history, except the mythological ideology.
Gotcha. I would like to ask, you said he thinks the only course of action is to do what? I lost that part.
Is to identify the exact location of the pyramid and get there first, although time is running out.
Isaac would like to ask him a question. Archaeologist, well, English. What can you tell me about the pyramid?
Well, to be frank, I don't know much about the pyramid until I can look at the writing, but it would seem to me that it would date back hundreds of years, if not more, and that it likely contains many artifacts of cultural significance. especially to um, religion and the culture associated with that, being that it is a pyramid. Though it is likely that the more correct term might be ziggurat.
Yeah. Um. I don't know, do you know of the natives that created the pyramid, or is it just one of those pyramids that just was there?
We don't have an idea as of yet, even where exactly this pyramid may be, who made it, what age it dates to, but hopefully the writing that Rizzo is getting might connect. Speaking of, she should be along any minute now. She likely got caught up with something else.
I hate to Logan speaks out a bit tentatively, and he says, "I hate to." Also, I'm also not doing the accent, but Logan does have a fairly moderate Irish accent, understandable, but definitely adds that kind of like accent flair. Uh, he says, "I hate to even suggest it, but do you think Larkin would go so far as to interfere with your assistant's work? It is his research assistant, right?"
Yes, student updates, but also kind of assistant.
Gotcha.
I suppose, but if Larkin is the man who wants to pilfer a tomb, it is unlikely that he would go as far as to harm another person at this point. Betrayals are often seen in pop cultural stories, but I doubt he would go as far as to murder someone over treasure.
Actually, I do have another question, as Isaac. So are you telling us to betray Larkin, join you to find the pyramid first, or just stay with Larkin and find the pyramid with him?
I'm suggesting that the only course of action that could protect the artifacts there is to get there first and move them here to the museum, where they cannot be sold to the highest bidder.
Well, since Larkin is meeting us at Hotel España in 3 days, well, 2 days now, maybe we can, by the end of tonight, gather some gear and head out before he leaves to find the pyramid.
Elias turns to you. The only reality there is that he has organized some cars to take us, which would be likely about a 3-day trip from my estimations. If you were to go without that, then you'd have to go by steamer or walk the road, and that could add a number of days onto the trip. It's likely that he would get to Puno first.
Not to mention, the only map that he had was the one that he said was essentially in his head.
So to attempt to wander out in the fields could be
Well, that's the thing that I'm trying to figure out, Mr. Sanchez, is that how are we gonna find the pyramid first with him if we need him for transport?
well, that depends on the information we find in this writing. Because though more time might be added on, chances are they don't necessarily know the entire truth, or they may be wrong, and then in that case we could still get there first.
Okay, well, I'll put my faith and trust in you then.
I guess now all we do is wait for Risso.
But
Yeah.
also consider how, this is Elias speaking, Mr. Larkin might react if we were to just disappear. Would he wait and try to find new people? Would he fear that we're going to get there first and we now become the competitors? And in that situation, if he's part of the group we think he might be, there's no telling what and who and where his allies are that might be able to stab us in the back, so to say.
Or quite literally so.
Well, I guess we'll stick with him and learn more about him as we go.
Perhaps,
I was gonna have Logan say something, but never mind.
perhaps if it comes to it, at the pyramid you could beat him in an argument and keep the relics for the museum.
An argument, a bullet, something along those lines.
No, 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 and this is, of course, Sanchez. An argument? Murder is not acceptable.
Of course,
Well,
I
but
was.
what if there
only
was a
joking.
banana peel on the ground and he happened to slip and he hits his head on the rock and we're just there like, oops, I guess he died.
Oops, he got pushed off a 5-story pyramid. Uh-oh, what happened?
Truly, where is that Rizzo? She's supposed to be here 10 minutes ago.
Are you sure his pet vampire didn't eat her?
Logan kind of leans over to Isaac and goes, and whispers, make sure he's whispering. He does not want him over here. He goes, $10 says Rizzo's dead.
Yeah, she probably got eaten by that vampire pet that he has.
It's not Sanchez's pet. Or do you mean
No,
Larkin's?
the Larkins. I'm talking about
Okay.
is the Mendoza guy, the
Yeah.
vampire guy.
Well, okay. Where would are non-employees allowed in this storeroom that Lizzo was at? Could we maybe go all together and find her?
Technically, you're not allowed, but I suppose I could accept you given that we are talking business.
We're being supervised, of course, and I promise we'll all act as. Okay, yeah. Violet's not here. I can say gentlemen. Okay.
I promise Logan won't steal and touch your stuff.
No, shh, stop it.
I would hope not, because we have everything in there cataloged, and you'd be the only people down there. So I would know. And
Let's go
he gives
find,
you directions down to the storeroom, located in the basement under the museum. And he informs you that that's where Rizzo should be. But he and Elias agree to stay here in the office in case she turns up in the interim, and so they can further discuss some issues with Larkin.
I see. Well, I suppose we will hopefully come back with Rizzo soon. If we go there and she's not there, we'll simply return here.
So, the storeroom is almost directly under Sanchez's office, accessed via a staircase and a long, dimly lit corridor. It's the weekend, so the basement is quite quiet, and on your way through, you do not see or hear anyone else moving around. You can see the door labeled storeroom with a number next to it, and it is currently left ajar.
Logan, well, first of all, how dark is it down here? Is it well lit?
It is lit. It is not well lit. There's dark spots, but it's lit.
Okay. And I do want to say I noted this in my notes, and I think I said something earlier, but I don't remember if I did. Logan does have his gun on him. It's inside of his coat, but like he can like reach inside of his coat pocket and like yoink gun. So yeah, I'm just putting that out here now, just so that it doesn't come into question later.
Only 2 people in the party packing, man.
And so I'm going to, obviously the gun's not drawn, but I'm going to go up to the door and kind of call inside. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to do a listen check and see if I can hear anything coming from inside first.
Okay.
Dice, why? God damn it. I got a 16. And my listen is 25, so it's a normal success.
You do not hear anything from inside the room.
Motherfucker, I was talking to myself. Okay.
Eats himself.
Well, I know. Well, because I had to make yucky phlegm noises. I'm going to look to Ezra and I'm not going to look to Logan. I'm Logan. I'm going to look to Ezra and Isaac and kind of shake my head to indicate that I don't hear anything. And then I'm gonna kind of call out into the crack of the door, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
project my voice into the room and say, "Is anyone in there? Rizzo? Sanchez, Professor Sanchez sent us. Are you in there?"
You hear no reply.
And
Well,
Logan
with
just kind of
that-
sighs and goes, "Well, fuck." Oh, go ahead, Isaac.
No, I was gonna say with that, I'm gonna draw my pistol or my gun
Okay.
just in case.
Logan kind of looks over at Isaac and smirks and says, "You know, this is gonna look horrible if we come in here with our guns drawn and there's just this. I don't like this situation." But Logan also, he doesn't pull his gun out, but like he has his hand inside of his jacket, ready to pull the bitch out if need be.
Oh, Logan, you're the first one at the door, so if anyone, we can blame you. But
Hey, there's no gas gauge this time. It's not my fault. All right.
Alright.
So,
let's head inside the room.
okay, Logan is going to push the door open and kind of look around inside without going inside just yet. When I
Taking
roll
a
for
peek
that,
into
would
the
that
storeroom
be-
itself. It is cavernous and oblong, some 80 feet long and 45 feet wide, filled with evenly spaced rows of floor-to-ceiling shelves, which are packed with crates, boxes, and bags containing a huge variety of artifacts. Everything seems to be neatly labeled, and everything is clean and well kept in this room. Between the dim electric lighting and the packed shelves, it is difficult to see very far. So you can't exactly see everything going on in every part of the room. There is dark shadows and tight spaces between, packed rows.
Well, I want to investigate the room. Do I have to roll an investigation for that?
Yeah.
Is it an investigation?
Well, it would be, if you're checking around, roll a spot hidden.
Actually, I have a good chance on that. 27 out of 65.
Okay, so that is a success. Wait, your spot hidden is 65?
Yeah, my reg is 65, my half is 32.
Okay. I get to change the scene now. You all begin walking around, and you, Isaac, notice a spot in the storeroom where it seems a bunch of artifacts and piles have kind of been pushed off of the shelves. In fact, half buried under a pile of artifacts is a female body. It is emaciated, almost mummified, and there is a large disc of torn, bloody flesh on the upper chest. Her shriveled face is frozen in a mask of pure terror, eyes still wide and staring directly at you. Make a sanity roll.
Ooh, I got a 91 out of 55.
Okay. You can take an amount of sanity damage equal to the number I'm going to roll on my dice of doom. You take 6 points of sanity damage.
Oof.
Oof.
So, roll me. Actually, no. This is where we get in deep. Because when you get 5 or more points of sanity damage in Call of Cthulhu, you enter a bout of madness. Which Ez is a little familiar with.
A little.
And so Isaac will immediately drop his gun in fear and yelp, because I get to do that. How does everyone else react to the sound of his gun hitting the floor and him yelping?
Logan immediately runs over, gun drawn.
And so you can see there as well the near mummified body.
I found the assistant underneath this pile of stuff over here, and she doesn't look so good.
Ez, do you run over as well?
I am going to look over from wherever I am standing and just be like, what did you find?
I found, I'm assuming the assistant, but she looks partially bummified.
Bummified.
Mummified. Bummified.
She's become a bum.
She is bum, man.
It's at this point that Logan visibly pales, which is an impressive feat considering he's already a pale motherfucker. And I'm gonna have him go over and move some of the books to expose. You said her chest is where the disc of flesh was missing?
Yes, her upper chest.
I want to expose her upper chest and look for teeth marks.
So
Giggity.
it's not that there is a disc of flesh missing. It is that there is a massive bloody torn disc where it appears that a ring of teeth or, something sharp has been placed and then torn away from.
Oh, fuck me. Okay, I don't like this. This is Logan saying this in character.
1 second, because that is an... Ooh. Okay.
Isaac is just gonna sit there and say, yeah.
Roll me a percentile.
That's not what I want. 88.
88. Oh god, no, roll again.
What was an 88?
29.
29.
80
Okay.
was probably super bad.
What is the first color Isaac sees in the room?
Oh, no.
Well, it's a storeroom, so I'm assuming everything's gonna be brown because of boxes.
You're gonna become afraid of brown people? No!
I will say red because of the blood, which you are so afraid
There you
of.
go.
And
Mummified, right?
it's not a phobia. This is in fact a mania.
Oh, well.
For a period of time, Isaac is so traumatized emotionally by this sight and the confirmation that there is some sort of creature or murder or something going on that his mind partially breaks and he becomes obsessed with the color red.
So he's Taylor Swift. Got it. So Logan has some disconcerting news to share. He's gonna. So again, in character, he says, "Okay, I don't like this. I do not like this." And he's gonna look over at Logan and Ezra and say, "So I wasn't gonna say anything about this, but I had a fucked up dream right before I woke up. I was basically, 1 moment. I was basically in this weird grassy field with like cracks in the desert, and there was like cracks in the ground, kind of like when you're in like big rocky areas, but the cracks just kept going down like forever. And I turned around and there was a wall right in front of my face, but hanging between two of the bricks was this weird carved mask that looked just like my face. But instead of a mouth, it had like a disc of teeth protruding from its mouth, kind of like a lamprey. And then it lunged at me, latched onto me, and sucked my fat, and I died or something, and I woke up. Creepy dream. I was hoping that it was just overactive imagination or something from the talk that we heard from Jesse, whose name I can't remember. Oh god,
Jackson
that image.
Elias.
Jackson. Who the fuck is Jesse?
Jesse was his fake name.
Oh, I'm gonna have to edit my note. I said Jesse. So.
Well,
Elias. Okay.
they did say that De Mendoza was a vampire, so
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
people in Puno believe him to be a vampire.
yeah. So I don't know why I had a creepy dream about him, or something like him, but given that this looks exactly like the mouth hole that I saw in my dream, I'm kind of freaked out. So, I'm gonna roll a cult. No.
can I roll a cult to see if that was like a premonition or something?
So
Yeah,
I
actually.
will say this again, and I know it'll be said a million more times, but never, ever, ever go into something with a roll in mind. Always ask a question, and I'll tell you what roll to roll.
Okay.
So what are you trying to figure out?
If
Uh,
Logan had a premonition
and no, I dropped my
or
dice.
something of that sort, you know.
And I want to figure out.
Your occult rule could not exactly help you figure that out. That would be personal belief of maybe that's what it was, or maybe that's not what it was.
Okay.
And mine is basically I'm trying to see if there's something I can think of as to any more information I might know about these things, like any weakness they might have, or ostensibly if they even exist,
Being
but also
someone who is not from the area nor has ever
wouldn't
spent
know.
time in the area, you would not know.
Damn, alright.
Notably, though, roll a spot hidden.
Okay.
All of you.
Oh, that fell. God damn it. Like this.
37 of 65. Almost got a half, but nope.
21 out of 30, so normal.
And for Ez?
77.
Is that a normal success or is that a fail?
No, I'm sure that's a fail. Let me open up my character sheet here.
So I was going to say, I know some of you guys have some pretty high spot hiddens.
Mine was already like a checked skill before, so.
Right, and I was going to say a lot of people decided to dump stat that. I think 2 of you at least did.
Yeah.
Fiance's is 50. Or it
Okay.
was, actually. I'm not sure what it is now.
So make sure Isaac and Logan both have that box ticked. Who did the hard success?
Chaos. I did not.
No, I
normal
just
or
had a
was it
reg. It was just a reg. It was 65. My half is 32. I got a 37.
Did you both get a red?
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure where you got that spot hidden of 50, but should I change mine to 50 then?
No. I was going off an old character sheet. I said I thought that's what it was.
Because it's still a fail, but no, I've got 57 here. Did I do that wrong?
No, you might
No,
have.
you're good.
You just. He's probably looking at one where you hadn't changed the skills yet.
Yeah, this is. I haven't. The one you're using includes the upgrade points you got from the Wayland mission. And mine, the one I'm looking at, does not have those in it.
Oh, I didn't actually do that. Maybe I should?
No,
Yes.
what do you mean?
I didn't do any upgrade points from the Wayland thing.
I thought you
Yeah,
did.
you did.
Yeah, I was about to say you rolled a d10 and increased it. That's
Yeah,
why it's
remember for
57.
for everyone that was checkmarked, we rolled a d10 and you added that many points to it. That's why it's 57, because it was 50 and you rolled a 7.
Oh, okay.
But okay, so 2 normal success. Lola, you do notice each of you one thing. Isaac, while staring at this corpse, you do notice that there is a notebook, a small but notebook with a pen on the side poking out of one of her jacket pockets.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Hulu just decided to start playing for some goddamn reason.
I probably said the same sentence twice in itself because I'm confusing myself, but there's a small notebook with a pen on the side poking out of one of Rizo's front jacket pockets. And Logan would spot next to her body a small wooden crate which has been smashed into pieces. However, the way the top has been pulled off, it indicates that the damage is not entirely due to a fall from the shelves and that someone is forced to open. The remains of the crate are packed with straw, and poking out from the mass is a section of what appears to be a large piece of worked gold. However, with your spot hidden, you also see what appears to be freshly burned remains of skin on the gold, though it appears cold to the touch.
The fuck? Okay, that's a little weird. So, I'm gonna take out, like, a little piece of, like, cloth, like a handkerchief or something, and pick up, okay, first of all, how big is the piece of gold? Like, can I pick it up with one hand, or is it like a two-hander?
Well, if you'd like to take a closer look at the gold, you see that it is a single length of worked gold around 2 feet in length, 3 inches wide, and a third of an inch deep. Both of its edges or ends, as you can see from here, are rough, as though the piece was ripped or broken from a larger design. It is largely straight, although 4 sections of it jut out at right angles into short spurs or squared off spirals. And from here you can see that the surface is imprinted with a series of non-repeating geometric shapes, mostly squares and rectangles, with no obvious meaning. None of them seem to resemble any known form of writing that you could think of either.
Okay, okay, with that written, I'm gonna try and use, I didn't write this down, but I'm sure he would have, like, tweezers or, like, calipers or something to, like, carefully, he repairs books as a hobby, so I'm sure he has, like, stuff on him that he can, like, handle artifacts with without touching them or damaging them or getting oils on them from his skin.
That's fair to say.
Okay, so he's gonna take out, like, a little pair of calipers or something and see if he can pull off one of the flakes of skin.
It is melted against it. So it's crunchy.
Crunchy.
It is as if someone had taken a small piece of bacon and just left it on the pan. Doesn't really peel off.
Okay, how new does it look?
It's still steaming a little bit.
I want to see, I doubt I do, but I want to see if I know any information about either vampires having interaction with gold or about any creature in general that might react negatively to, like, a gold artifact that might make it burn. Basically, what would make something burn itself by touching that is what he's trying to figure out.
Okay, roll an
So
occult
that would be
check.
an occult roll? Yeah, okay. That is a 76. God damn it. My occult is 72. I'm not going to spend the luck on it.
So you fail?
Yeah.
Well, In that case, you can't think of any creatures that might be burned by gold, especially being a vampire. Vampires are burnt by silver.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
it's not a
seeing,
vampire.
well, it's something. Maybe I don't fucking know. But knowing or seeing the piece of gold, I am gonna pick it up and wrap it in cloth,
Okay.
and I'll let Isaac figure out like what you want to do with the notebook. I can't notice it yet because you haven't said anything about it.
Well, I was letting you do your stuff, so.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Isaac would like to pick up the notebook and read through it if he can.
Okay. Also, notably, like I said, that gold is cold to the touch, like chilled. So, what's gonna be sent to the Discord in a second is some note entries she has that are gonna be really difficult to read, probably, because it's small.
Yeah. Oh, for Christ's sake! Why you do this to me, Pearson?
So
open it on my phone.
I will find a way to read it.
Oh, I can read it on the stream,
Okay.
real easy.
Spanish.
Reading it on the.
Written by Gaspar Figueroa, 1543, on vellum. Figueroa, Spaniard who had traveled to Peru with Francisco Pizarro. According to the text, Figueroa set out to seek his own fortune following Pizarro's assassination in 1541. He was accompanied by Hernando Ruiz, Diego Garrido, Luis de Mendoza, and Pedro de Velasco, fellow conquistadors who had served with Pizarro. They traveled into the southern highlands of the Andes, looking for treasure, hoping to make their fortunes before heading back to Spain and retiring in luxury. Hearing rumors of an ancient temple filled with gold, the men set off into the mountains southwest of Lake Titicaca. There they found a pyramid surrounded by a maze-like structure of underground tunnels. The walls of the tunnels were inlaid with intricate gold carvings. The men pried out a large section of the gold, exhausting themselves in the attempt. That night, as they rested, an evil sickness befell Figueroa's companions. In the morning light, they looked gaunt and death-like. Complaining of agonizing hunger, they pursued Figueroa. De Mendoza caught up with him and started to devour him like a human leech. Figueroa shot his friend in the head and fled, pausing only to snatch up as much of the gold as he could carry. Figueroa eventually arrived back in Lima, hoping to get passage home, but he was too weakened by his ordeal. Figueroa described himself as wasted, little more than a walking corpse. I read Final Confessions as Figueroa's attempt to lift the guilt that his avarice had placed upon him. He believed that his fate, and that of his companions, was brought about by their desecration of a holy place, and his most fervent wish was that he could undo the damage he had inflicted. He describes how he can still hear his friends' voices, crying out with inhuman hunger, and how in the dark of the night he can hear another voice, ancient and seductive, promising him eternal life if he returns to the temple. The voice told Figueroa how to contact it, but it seems Figueroa was too afraid to ever attempt this. A postscript written by the priest, who performed the last rites, states that Figueroa died a day after completing his final confessions. His last words were an entreaty to whatever gods were listening to forgive him of his blasphemies.
Well, since I read the notebook, I would like to share this information to Ezra and Logan about De Mendoza.
And this is the same De Mendoza from the hotel, right?
Assuming the name in the notebook says
Well,
Luis de Mendoza, so
yeah, the
unless he's
same-
taking up
it's-
an alias or something, like a fake name.
it's the same exact name.
And judging by the fact that this book is referencing somewhat of a vampire or leech,
Yeah.
the assistant was just literally murdered by something that sucked out her fat or whatever, and she looks mummified.
So
It might be the
basically,
same person. So that
weird-
in that map that Larkin has is technically De Mendoza that knows where the ruins are.
So basically, we're dealing with an almost 400-year-old vampire.
Assuming so, the only thing that has me confused is the voice that they hear.
That likely comes from the pyramid itself, and I don't know what that is either. Okay, let's get the fuck out of here and go find uh, Sanchez
Yeah, the
and
professor and Elias.
Elias. Thank you. I could not remember his name. Elias and Sanchez. We got to get the fuck out of here and let them know that she's dead. But firstly, let's get the fuck out of here. And I don't know. Did Isaac leave the notebook or is he taking it?
I'm gonna keep it in my pocket.
Okay. Let's get the fuck out of here then. Unless you have any complaints, Ezra?
Nope.
Okay. So let's go back up to the office and let Sanchez know his research assistant got murdered by a vampire.
Okay.
Well, I want to
We'll
show him the
probably leave
notebook
out
too
the-
when I get back. Okay.
Yeah, we'll show him that, but maybe we'll let him draw his own conclusions about the vampire bit, considering he seems very much like a rationalist.
You make your way back through the halls, back up the stairs, back to Sanchez's office. And even before you get there, you hear someone crying in pain. Is there a certain way you would like to approach the room?
I'm gonna roll a listen check, and I'm gonna have my gun drawn also. See if I can hear. Basically, I want to see if I can hear anything specific beyond just pain noises. Where the fuck is my character sheet? There's my character sheet. My listen scale is a 25, man. God damn it, Hulu! Stop playing for no goddamn reason.
He's breaking character. Whip him.
It scared me. All of a sudden, I'm just sitting here fucking trying to read my dice, and all of a sudden, I have fucking Brian yelling in my ear. It's like, no, bad dog. I got an 80 something, so either way, it's a fail. Because my listen is way below that.
Yeah, it's hard to hear from here, but from where you're standing, you can hear someone crying in pain.
Yeah, I'm gonna draw my gun.
Charge in. I'm gonna walk carefully towards the noise with my gun out.
Okay. As are you moving up with them?
Well, since I still have no weapon, I'm probably going to be hanging back a bit. But yeah, I'll be with them.
But give yourself a
actually-
breath of safety. Gotcha.
Before we go inside, do you even have like a knife or anything, Ez?
I probably have like a pocket knife. That would be something
Like a
that
switchblade?
virtually everyone would. No, just like a regular pocket knife. Something that virtually everyone would carry in those days.
Fair enough.
Okay, well, before we go inside, I'm gonna pull out a fucking machete and give it to you.
Really?
I have a machete, yeah.
Really?
Yes, I have a machete.
Where do you keep it
Just
in your?
casually in your waist pocket?
Inside
it's
the
hidden
coat,
in-
yeah.
Yeah, I have a big coat, man.
This entire time I
Jesus
thought you.
Christ! I guess your leg must be filleted by now.
This entire time I thought you were just happy to see us, but it was just a machete in your pants.
No, it's like
Every
what,
time the side of your coat hits your leg, it's like, oh, there's another slice.
No, he had the machete, like you know how like they would carry swords like between their shoulder blades type of thing.
I've never heard of a machete. You know what? We'll just roll with it. Okay, I got a machete.
Which is someone who has a medium knife. Explain the stats.
Large knife, actually.
It's a
Oh,
large.
large. Yes. Say the stats.
Let me go through my book. Hold on.
I have it.
Oh,
I have
that
it.
has it. Never mind.
It's a 25 skill check. So if you roll, you have to get a 25% or whatever to pass it.
Well, he might have a different.
No, brawl by default is 25. So I don't know if this is higher or not. I don't think it is. Let's find out. No, his brawl is 25.
So you have a 25% success rate, which has its same, modifiers.
And the hit damage, the damage is 1d8 plus your damage bonus. And I think your damage bonus is 0. So for you, it's just a 1d8.
Well, just out of curiosity, where are you getting this from?
What? What do you mean? The information on it?
Yeah.
Well, I
It's
pulled
in
the original
the handbook,
stats.
though.
Yeah, the handbook. Which is pinned in general chat. But it was on page like 200 something in the handbook. I wrote it down in my character sheet.
I think it's like
Anyway,
243.
if you need to use it, I'll just tell you what to roll for it. Don't It's fine. It's basically just 1d8 if you hit, and it's a 25% chance of hitting if you swing it. So yeah.
So
yes, temporarily I give him my machete.
you are now equipped with a Tomto, and you all peek into the room then?
Yeah. Or at least I do. I don't know about the rest.
Sure.
So you peek into the room from this door, and as you're likely startled as Jackson Elias runs up behind you. Not at you, but runs up behind you. And he seems to be panting and sweating. Are you all alright? Someone was just attacked out in the lobby.
Well, we just figured out that one of Larkin's lackeys is a vampire, and is basically 400 years old. So
While you guys are talking, I'm pushing in still because I don't want whoever's in there to get away.
Okay. A vampire? No, someone was stabbed. And Logan, you push into the office, and you can only see one person in there. Sanchez is on the ground, rolling back and forth, and kind of crying in agony. He croaks out 3 words to you. He kissed me. Before he continues to cry in pain.
and
There are also, you can see from here, traces of a rancid-smelling, white waxy secretion on his mouth.
So I'm gonna go inside. And I still have my gun out, but it's at my side. I'm gonna kind of go towards Sanchez and look at his face to see if he's injured.
Since Elias is talking to me, I'm going to hand him the notebook I got from the assistant, so he can read the part about the Mendoza and the conquistador stuff.
Okay. You said you're sharing that with Elias?
Yeah, I'm sharing it to Elias so he knows what's going on.
Okay.
Was the professor in fact stabbed?
Roll...
No.
Logan, you're investigating him. Roll a spot hidden.
Ooh, 26. And my spot hidden is 30.
Okay.
So if the professor was not stabbed, who is Elias saying was stabbed?
Just someone in the lobby.
You can see that there is a spot in his abdomen that seems to be wriggling or moving.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. Can I... Oh, no. Can I do a roll to... Oh, God. Can I do a roll to, like, figure out if he, like, puked, like, eggs down his throat or something? Would that be an occult? I don't...
No, it's up to you.
I don't know, man. Fuck me. I'm gonna yell from outside, Elias, get in here.
Elias will immediately stop reading the notebook and sprint in. Is everything alright?
No.
Oh, fuck!
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how much of the notebook you read, but the short version is they went and found some gold and it was haunted or something.
Okay, so enough about the notebook. How about that the professor is rolling on the floor in pain?
No, listen to me. De Mendoza was in the 15th century. The same De Mendoza who is now Larkin's assistant. And if you go look, Rizzo is dead in the basement with her fat sucked out and she's mummified.
He actually goes dead silent. And just his mouth is hanging open and he's staring at the wriggling spot.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure De Mendoza put fucking eggs inside of Sanchez's stomach.
Now, this is one wriggling spot, and it's a couple of inches long.
Can I investigate it to see what it is?
Feeling
The professor is still alive at this point, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's crying in pain and like thrashing around, yeah.
So we're all just standing there looking at him and debating courses of action rather than actually trying to help him.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I want to know what's inside of him. Can I check to
Yeah.
see what's inside of him?
I mean, yeah, if you want to cut his tummy open, good luck, man.
Feeling it with your hand, you feel something gelatinous that almost seems to squirm under your touch. Make a sanity roll.
Yeah, I shouldn't have touched it. 23 out of 49 actually, because my current's 49.
Okay. A success. You take no sanity damage. Make a medicine check.
Where's my medicine? Point. I got a 91, so I failed that.
Okay. Yeah, you don't know where exactly in the body it's at, or what it could be, or how you might solve that.
I'm just gonna back away and say there's something moving inside there, and I don't know what it is.
Whatever it needs probably needs to be cut out, but I feel like it's probably, I don't know, man. Vampire babies.
I have a hunting knife. You can cut him open, but it might kill him.
Yeah, no, it definitely will kill him. I don't think any of us are remotely trained in any sort of medical science.
Magical.
I was gonna say medical and surgical, and I came up magical.
Well, we could have put the man out of his misery. He's over here suffering with something
No, we're not gonna kill
gelatinous
him.
squirming inside of him.
Alliance, he's your friend. Do something.
Maybe we could get him to vomit it up or something. What?
The man is too stunned to speak. How about we just stab his stomach or something? And cut
Are
him
there
open?
any medics in the office?
Yeah, do we have anything that'll make him puke? Make him smell Babu's ass.
Babu will have been left at the hotel today.
There's
Yeah.
nothing. See, he thinks ahead because he's like, what if the vampire ate Babu? Oh no. No, I'm just kidding.
My cat with me, so.
There's nothing obvious in this office, but there's always a chance that there's a nurse's office in the campus.
I mean, I have lighter fluid. Would that be enough?
Wouldn't I kill him?
That's more like smelling salts, not puking. I was thinking of smelling salts. Oh fuck it! He goes over and he goes over to Sanchez and says, "I'm really sorry about this." And assuming Sanchez lets him, he's going to stick his finger down Sanchez's throat and try to make him puke.
Only Logan would do such a thing.
Yeah.
It's either that or he dies, man. He has weird vampire eggs.
Roll first aid.
Roll for what?
First aid.
First aid. Where the fuck is first aid? Oh, 30. Oh, that's not bad, actually. Where's my D? There it is. I got a 20.
I'm surprised you stuck your finger down his throat.
What else would I stick in there? Hey!
I mean,
Bad
something other than your finger. Maybe like, don't you have like a stick or something?
No, Ezra was making naughty jokes.
Oh.
I succeeded with 1 point to spare.
You just hear just all at once Sanchez gurgling on your hand in his mouth vomits on the floor. and you can see that that gelatinous structure has moved up into the throat and is wiggling in the throat. But it isn't out.
Okay.
Quick, somebody make him throw up again.
Time to whip out the old fishing pole.
I don't think that throwing. We need something with like suction, I think.
What are you gonna shop vacuum? Oh shit, he's got another worm.
Actually, you know what? Maybe he can cough it up? Is it high enough for him to cough up, do you think?
Right now he seems to be choking, so there's that.
Ezra,
Stick your hand down his throat.
Ezra probably has a small piece of jerky that left over from what he was feeding Babu the previous night.
What does that have to do with anything? What?
Fishing
He can
lure.
lower that into he can lower that into the professor's throat, assuming that we can see whatever it is, which I think we can. We can see it in his throat, in his mouth, and I can try and lure it out with the piece of jerky.
Oh. I mean, yeah. Well, he's either that or try that. And if that doesn't work, would I know the Heimlich
You can try the
maneuver?
gold.
You know
can
what?
Try
Okay.
the gold.
Because this is the beauty of Call of Cthulhu. Everybody has a luck meter, right? And when you have something that's kind of fucking batshit crazy, but it could happen, you roll on luck. So, Ez, give us a luck roll.
It critically failed. No, I rolled an 85.
Okay,
And
so
luck is 45.
you reach your hand in and kind of like dangle the meat there just a little bit. And it doesn't seem to be going for the jerky, but it does seem to be trying to move further down in the throat.
Oh no. Okay. Do I know the Heimlich maneuver? That's common knowledge, right?
Roll a medicine check?
Really? Even I know the fucking Heimlich maneuver. God.
Or you could try first aid again.
Heimlich might have been a young medical student at the time.
Wait, really? Hold the fuck up. No, that can't be right. Where's my Google Chrome?
This is correct. Heimlich may not have invented the maneuver yet.
You gotta remember, medicine was pretty barbaric until like the 1930s.
1974.
So, as I was saying,
Fine. He's going to sit him up and whack him on the back and try to make him cough it up. You know, you kind of slap someone on the back when they're coughing to try and help, maybe? He's just gonna whack him on the back.
Isaac is gonna stand there and suggest, and say, you're saying it was a vampire baby. What about the gold? Wasn't there burnt skin on the gold?
What do you want me to do? Shove the brick of gold in his mouth?
You could try something with
I
it.
mean, that would be... That sounds about in line with medical standards at the time.
I just
Rub it against the chest. Maybe it'll make him feel better.
I'm gonna help you. So, are you gonna try to give him barbaric Heimlich, or are you gonna shove the gold in his throat?
I'm gonna smack him on the back first. Which would be field, yeah?
Make a
First aid, rather?
Yeah, make a first aid.
Okay, well, that one fucking bounced off my mouse and almost onto the floor. I had to catch it. I don't know what it was. Motherfucker, 87. Alright, fine. I'm gonna shove the brick in his goddamn mouth.
Do you?
Wait, let me see how big it is, actually. Oh, it's only 3 inches wide! Okay, yeah, you can open your mouth 3 inches wide. Yeah, okay. He's gonna take the piece of brick and... Ooh, better idea! He's trying to go back down his throat, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna push it against the base of his throat.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. I don't know why you got this idea of shoving it down his throat.
No. Okay, I'm gonna take the brick and push it against the base of his throat, and then push upward like I'm trying to push the bitch up his throat. You know what I mean?
Okay. So kind of like...
Oh my god, the poor guy just suffered a broken hyoid bone.
I hope you're all familiar with like the game where there's like a little plastic thing and you could wind it up and it spins and you try to get the fish out of it with like a magnet fishing pole because that is absolutely what this is. Oh my god. So you you take the bar and you just start fucking rolling them out like dough. As you're just fucking choking him out by running this gold bar up his throat.
That's exactly what's happening.
Whatever was wriggling in his throat seems to rapidly make its way up the throat and out of the mouth.
Oh god!
And
I dropped the gold and pull up my gun.
squirming out of the mouth is this massive grub-like larva. It is long and segmented white, and it has a front end that seems to have pincers where it splits into two, and it has legs all down the ends that are very spiky and almost tooth-like.
Ooh, new toy for Babu.
With a small, not quite spinneret, but something at the bottom that seems to secrete a fluid. And it begins worming its way up onto your arm, Logan.
Logan is promptly going to scream and slam his arm into the side of the desk to try and crush it.
Make a strength check.
And not a manly scream, like little girl about to get murdered scream, like holy fuck, get this thing off of me.
Scream.
Do you remember you watched a lot of Supernatural? Do you remember the bit of Supernatural where Dean got scared of everything and he screamed at the
when
cat?
he had ghost fever. Yeah.
Yes, he had this is Ghost Fever Dean level of scream.
That was scary.
I got a 40 and my strength is 70, so it's a success. Regular success.
Okay, I will let you. Actually, how would that percentile have played out with your unarmed attack?
What would that even be? Brawl?
Yeah.
Yes. You can see unarmed attack on your character sheet.
I don't see unarmed attack. I see brawl.
It's just a fighting brawl one.
Yeah, it just says brawl. It doesn't say unarmed, but I'm
Yeah,
assuming that's what you mean.
1d3 damage.
Yeah, okay, no, that's a 25. And I got a 40.
Yeah, so let me see if I fail as well. Dice of Doom time. Critical success. You try to slam your arm off the desk, and you slam your arm off the desk really hard. Enough that you hear a tiny pop, and you get a lot of pain. But the worm has already made its way up onto your shoulder.
Okay, I just start screaming, "Someone get it off of me!"
How are Isaac and Ez reacting?
I'll try to get it off of him.
Okay, make your choice of a brawl roll or a dexterity roll.
I'll do dexterity. I should have done a brawl because I got a fucking critical success.
Okay, so you manage to smack this sort of worm-like creature off of his shoulder, and it smacks into the side of the desk and drops to the ground, where it begins wriggling slowly towards Sanchez, but there's quite a few feet of distance at this point. Ez, how would you like to take your turn?
Well, at this point, I don't think there's anything to be done really, except if I'm close enough, I will probably try and step on it.
Okay. Yeah, I would say you could pretty easily just kind of stomp on it. Make a strength check.
72, I'm sure that's a fail.
Well, actually this is pretty trivial. So I'll just give it to you that you walk over and just begin stomping on it over and over and over until it is a splatter of white and black goo on the bottom of your shoe.
how's our good professor doing all this?
He is still crying in pain, clutching his mouth, where it appears there is some small acid burn marks and the like. Um, Beyond that, though, he looks to be okay. There only
Man's
appears
got
to
some
have
great
been
run.
one creature within him.
So it's dead, right? We killed it.
The worm?
Yeah, the grub larva thing.
It appears to be so. Kind of looks like a very large maggot.
Can I try to see what it is?
No.
Yeah.
Mostly, I think, because at this point it's a smear.
Yeah. It's gone.
Well, is there a jar somewhere nearby? Maybe I can collect its fluids.
In an office like this, I'd say there's probably some jars you could pick up.
Yeah, I'll grab a jar in the office and scoop up some of the liquid from the larva and put it in there.
Okay. It is kind of like Elmer's glue. But Elmer's glue if it was full of butterfly wings.
So pretty Elmer's glue.
So with that taken care of, Logan is gonna, looking a rather manic, he's gonna stand up, look over to Elias and say, first of all, real goddamn helpful, thanks for that. Second of all, do you fucking believe me now?
Well, we haven't heard the professor's side of the story. We don't know if it was de Mendoza or if it was something else that attacked him.
Yeah, rather than yelling at people, I should think we'd be trying to help the professor.
Well, Elias is just freaking out because he had a bug on it, a giant fucking vampire bug on his shoulder.
I guess. I mean, how do the skipper and Marianne feel about this?
Wait, what?
There's a Gilligan Island reference.
Well, we should
Well,
check to see how the professor's doing since he just got violated by a giant worm.
He is beginning to
true.
calm down at this point, but he is still kind of reeling in pain from the burns that appeared to be around his mouth.
What's Elias doing during all of this?
Right now, he is trying to help the professor up into a chair.
Wait, actually, I have a question for Elias. Where did you go when we went downstairs? Weren't you sitting here with the professor earlier?
Yes, until someone was screaming for help in the lobby, and I ran out to see what was going on. By the time I had called the police, it appears that this had already happened.
So are the police going to be arriving, or did they just decide to fuck off?
Well, I believe they're out in the lobby right now. I guess I should go get them for Sanchez. And he turns to leave and go get the police.
Elias, wait.
Yes?
The fuck are you gonna tell them?
That he got attacked by someone and he was on the floor crying, as we already know.
You're going to tell the police that something put a...
No, I am going to tell them what happened. He got attacked by someone. Probably the same person that stabbed someone with a sword.
A sword puts a giant fucking pincered bug inside of someone's stomach?
Oh, They did, yo, he kissed me, so...
Yeah. He literally yelled the words, "It kissed me." Or actually, no, he said he, which makes me think it was probably Des Mendoza, which is the same thing that happened to Risso, who again is still in the basement looking like a mummy.
Yeah, what are you
God.
gonna tell the cops about her?
Des Mendoza, Risso, fucking Vasquez.
What? What? How am I saying it wrong?
De Mendoza.
Rizzo? De Mendoza?
Whatever.
Whatever. I thought you kept
But-
saying Lizzo this entire time, so I put
No,
Rizzo. I was like,
Rizzo.
in case you said it wrong.
But then, do you suggest that we just don't tell them about Rizzo and Sanchez, and we just leave him to cope? What do we do with the body?
No, but I think we should probably take a minute to group and maybe, now that Sanchez doesn't have a giant bug trying to tunnel its way out of his spleen, and get him some water maybe to get rid of the...
Ironically,
Lucas.
Ezra's going to be the one person here who has no trouble with the police knowing everything. Ezra's just going to be like, let the police draw their own conclusions because it's going to be pretty obvious to them what happened, which is we don't fucking know.
Wait, since there's cops here, I'm going to put my gun away.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I'm also going to put my gun away. Oh, yeah. and
Meanwhile, I am going to furiously wave my machete.
You mean my machete, and I'll be taking that back now.
Ah, yes, the danger has passed. Time to take back the weapons.
He's going to go to Sanchez and pull out his canteen, or his flask, actually. It'd be a flask. He doesn't have the canteen yet. Well, he has the canteen, he's just not using it.
They haven't
gonna pull out his
invented
flask.
canteens yet.
He's gonna pull out his flask and offer it to him, and it's just a water. And he's like, "Here, have some water."
Well, given that he has cuts and acid wounds, he drinks the water and then screams in pain.
Well, that's fun.
And you hear a set of footsteps coming down the hallway towards the office.
Oh, shit. Okay, Logan's gonna do one more check, make sure all the guns and the weapons are put away.
It appears so. Actually,
All right,
make a
he's gonna-
spot hidden roll.
48, I fail.
Okay.
Do you want me to try one or no?
Sure.
I failed too, never mind.
Ez, would you like to?
I'm sorry, what are we doing?
Spot hidden?
That would be a 59. So, nope.
Okay. All of you fail.
Alright, roll one.
Hey, Kat's not here right now.
I know.
She's out at Lake Titicaca.
Okay, well, he's gonna look to Elias and
Oh.
say, "You know what? Your circus, your monkeys. I don't fucking know. You figure this out." Because I'm pretty sure that's the cop.
And an officer of the law opens the door to the office. And Elias has moved to stand directly in front of Sanchez as to not be visible to the door. The officer asks if everything's okay, and he thought he heard a commotion back here, and he wanted to check in and make sure everything's all right. And he's kind of taking a hard eye at everyone.
Does
just
the
gonna
police
look to
officer know the professor personally or no?
How would you know?
No, I was just wondering because if I was gonna say, sorry, our friend over here was just chugging some glue and he got it stuck down his throat. I was gonna show him the jar of glue,
Well-
larva blood.
Oh my god.
Because that's totally a believable thing a professor would do.
He,
Actually, it kind of is.
he can't exactly see Sanchez right now, so you don't necessarily need to say that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a professor. I was gonna say one of our friends is just kind of, dumb. Saw this glue jar over here and thought it was a liquid he can drink, and that was the commotion he heard.
Do you want to say that?
If he believes it, yeah, I'll say it.
Okay, make your choice of a fast talk or a deception.
The fuck is deception?
If deception's even a thing on here.
It's not.
Just persuade.
You know what? I guess you're not wrong, but choose. Yeah, yeah, fast talk or persuade.
We had roll below a 10. No, I already fucked it. I got an 87. I already fucked it.
The officer gives you a disbelieving look and begins to push further into the office. But Elias speaks up and he's like, well, he was just... He did not drink the jar, but he did have an issue with... And he points out the small dent that's left on the desk from where Logan had slammed his arm off of it. Tripping on Logan over here, and they both kind of fell into the desk, and that was the commotion, I'm afraid. And the officer stops. Well, alright, if there's any more issues in here, let us know. And he walks out.
Logan's gonna look over at Elias and say, I figured you'd make the right decision. So, the fuck do we do now?
Well, what do we know?
Well, what we do know is that De Mendoza, that works for Larkins, is a fucking 400-year-old vampire of some sort.
Yeah. The writings specifically name Luis Mendoza. Fuck me. Luis de Mendoza by name, and mentions how he tried to basically eat Figueroa. And if, you can go look at Rizzo's body. If you have any other conclusions that you can come to, by all means, you can go look. Also, you know the piece of gold that they mentioned and that she was looking for? Logan's going to pull it out now and unwrap it and show Elias. He's going to say, actually, it was already out. Duh, he used it to fucking clothesline the professor. He's going to show that to Elias and say, see all this burnt skin on it? Yeah, it was still smoldering when I got there. I'm pretty sure De Mendoza tried to touch it and his body didn't like it for some reason.
So, in a way, we found a natural weakness for De Mendoza, in a way. Kind of. If it was, if it burned him.
I wonder... Do you know where this gold came from?
Yeah, from the pyramid.
Well, we're assuming it's from the pyramid. We don't know if it is from the pyramid.
Well, no, he even said... Let me double check out of character. Hold on.
Meanwhile, S is just looking at both you, Isaac, and Logan in pretty much shock at how rapidly and how deeply you are trusting Elias, whom you have only known for one day. Actually, just a few hours out of that one day.
Yeah, but we also already, or at least I know his name as a well-known author.
Well, we all know.
Also,
he said that we all know
but
that.
None of us know him by sight. We're simply accepting that he is who he says he is.
True.
Well,
But
judging
also-
that he didn't rat us out to the cops, I can say he's a very trustworthy person.
Plus, I mean, we have guns and he doesn't, so.
Well, he likes to murder people. I'm not saying anything about
Yeah,
murdering,
that's
but
just holy shit. These guys will trust anybody.
So basically, yeah, hearing rumors of an ancient temple filled with gold, the men set off into the mountains southwest of Lake. Yeah, okay, yeah, and they found a pyramid surrounded by a maze-like structure of underground tunnels, and the tunnels were inlaid with the intricate gold carvings. Okay, and so yeah, he's basically going to have read that tiny section aloud, and then look back up and say, "This is the piece. They found the pyramid, and they pried this piece of gold off of, they pried off a large section of the gold from the carvings." And that night, they felt like a sickness overtake them, and they all were like, vampire things after that.
Yeah, you're right, because it says that he arrived back at Lima, so I'm assuming he still had the gold with him when he arrived back here.
Yeah, so this is from the pyramid, and it's not. Apparently, it has a negative reaction against the creatures from the pyramid or something. I don't know. It also talks about some spooky voice that is calling to him, and that I don't know what that is either. Either way, this pyramid does not sound like a fun time, and this gold is either cursed or also a weakness against those who took it. I'm not sure, but De Mendoza is about 400 years old, and this is a problem.
We could always ask Caravakas to show us through.
Jesus Christ. The D&D reference from our old game.
If that is the case of Mendoza, then what is his connection to Larkin?
Well, I'm pretty sure he's feeding off Larkin, but the question is why.
Well, the thing is, if he was feeding off Larkin, because you're saying this in character, right? And I'm just cutting in. Wouldn't Larkin look like the assistant?
Well, unless he's only feeding off of him in pieces, kind of like how a vampire can drain someone whole, or they can feed off of them piecemeal enough to keep them around for years and only need to feed off of one person.
Well,
maybe
the thing is, we don't know what kind of vampire he is, because you ever seen a vampire that has this like teeth in any type of folklore?
No, definitely not. But that's what I'm thinking. Maybe Larkin is his like snack bag. I don't know. But the thing that makes me wonder is what the hell it. The only thing I can think of is that Larkin is obsessed enough to try and get to this pyramid that he's willing to let De Mendoza feed off of him in order to get there, because De Mendoza obviously would know where the pyramid is since he was there back in the 1500s.
Yeah. The other thing is that I'm thinking too is that maybe, what if Larkin is turning into one of them?
That's also a possibility, but I don't even know how that would happen.
Well, the thing is, like, when I saw him, he looked like he had an opioid, withdrawal or something. So.
Well, in the writing, it says that the sickness overtook them after they stole the gold. So I'm not sure what would make him. I don't know how he would become one, but I don't know. Either way, this is a lot more dangerous than we thought it was.
Well, the professor did say something about him being a grave robber, so he's done this before.
Yeah.
Well, in reference to him being willing to take something out of the pyramid.
Oh, I thought maybe he's done it before. Okay, so never mind about that theory.
He might have, but to clarify, Sanchez meant that in the sense that, like, if he were to take anything, then he would be a grave robber.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe the theory that he is Larkin's little freaking cattle and feeding him. Maybe. I mean, not Larkin's, De Mendoza's cattle, and then...
But either way, we need to get Sanchez to a doctor, I think, because looking at his mouth, I can see the acid burns, and I don't think it's going to get better without medical attention. We just can't. He looks to Sanchez. He's like, look, I know you're probably freaking out. I probably should be freaking out, but
he's completely unconscious.
Oh, wow, that's lovely. He's going to look to Elias and go, all right, look, he is passed out. He needs medical attention. Do you know anyone who can fix him, like,
without asking questions,
like under the table? Yeah, without asking questions.
I can get him to the hospital.
Should be able to carry him off.
I can get him to the hospital just fine. Yes, though I will not hand him to the police, or that will lead to more questions about our involvement. But what are we to do about Larkin and Mendoza? And what are you going to do while I'm doing so?
That I don't know, and we still don't know what to do with Riso's body either.
We can act like everything is normal and pretend we never saw anything when we meet him, and that we know
Yeah,
nothing.
I feel like our only hope at this point is to play along and somehow try and find a way to kill that 400-year-old menace.
Because the other thing that concerns me about this is the whole hearing voices. We don't know if maybe the voices is trying to convert, is telling Mendoza to convert Larkin into one of them, or something else of that nature. So I don't know if you do studies in the occult. I don't know if you've ever come across something of that nature.
I'm gonna roll and see if I have.
Sure.
Well, I'm asking both you and Elias.
I don't think
Elias.
Elias does occult as much. No, he does, but not as much as I do.
I have not experienced any cults where the voice has been real. I've experienced drug-induced voices. I've experienced things like that, but there's never been one where the voice has been real. However, if he's on opiates, or opioids rather, I suppose that Mendoza could be manipulating him in some way while he's in his stupors.
Well, the writing about the voices isn't from Larkin. This is the writing from the 1500s, the Figaro.
Yeah, this is from the Notebook.
Mass hysteria?
Why would the part about the vampire be true, but the other voice would be... I feel like if one part is true, the rest of it would have to be true as well, you know? I can hope that it's wrong, but I feel like it's not. Out of character, I got a 54 on my cult roll, which is the normal success.
You're trying to see what?
If I know anything about what Isaac was asking me.
Which was about the voices?
No, something about turning them into vampires or something. What was it, Isaac?
Oh, I was wondering if maybe you guys came across that in your studies where occults were hear like voices and tell them to, like, convert people into their thing or whatever.
I mean, all the time are they told to convert other people in by the creatures and by their gods and things like that. So, yeah. All the time. No specific example.
Okay, well, I was specifically looking for ones where...
I was looking for one that actually had like actual voices and monsters in them.
Vampire.
Yeah.
None that you know of.
Well, I guess with all of that, then we should just head to the, well, you should do your thing with the whole sending him to the hospital.
Yes,
And
Elias
I guess the rest of
will take care of Sanchez and the body.
The rest of us can go look for gear and act like everything's normal when we get ready to meet Larkin.
Yeah, I guess so.
But, and he says this before he's walking off, wouldn't Mendoza know that we were here then? And wouldn't he consider that we would know he had been the attacker? Or do you think he's not thought that far?
Well, to be fair, he hasn't actually seen us as far as we know. But...
I don't think he would have made the distraction unless he had known that I was with Sanchez, though.
Well, that sounds more like your cover has been blown, and then they figured out that maybe you were somebody else. You were pretending to be somebody else when you weren't. So maybe they were here to investigate you.
I definitely think they were here because Sanchez and Rizzo finding out too much about what is going on with them.
But you said that Larkin didn't want anything to do with them, so why would he?
He didn't want them to join because they would have gotten in the way. And I suppose if they had found out too much, especially about what could really be going on with him being a vampire, Karasiri even, that he would have to have them taken care of.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true, especially if Larkin is part of that whole circle and knows that he's a Kastiri. So
So all I can say there is tread lightly, because who knows who De Mendoza is coming for next.
Yeah. I'll say this much: I'll definitely be holding on to this piece of gold.
we should probably all stay together as a group then.
I realize that's technically stealing from the museum, but given that there were already many smashed boxes and a corpse in there, I feel like the borrowing of an artifact will be the least of their concerns. I do.
So, are there any more of those artifacts down there?
None of these, as far as
Say 3 more.
from what I saw in the writing, they only pulled off this one piece. I mean, theoretically, I could break into smaller pieces, but it seems unwise. Also, just to clarify, and also, I don't want to deface the property or damage the artifact if I can avoid it. And he's saying this to Elias now, which, by the way, while I am liberating this artifact temporarily, I do intend on returning it, assuming we come back alive, of course.
Anything that will burn the fuck out of the things trying to kill us is okay in my book.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking.
So, Elias will leave with Sanchez, and you guys are going to go supply shopping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am at least. I don't know about them.
I'll go along just because I don't want to fucking be alone.
Yeah.
We will do the basic supplies and stuff like that off of stream. Until then, though, that is where we will end this session. So, thank you everybody for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'm sorry it got cut a little short with that super long intermission, but there's not much that could be done there. I hope you all enjoyed that first episode very much, and we will see you all for the next episode next Friday. Until then, have a great night, and we'll see you then.